Hi. We're back with this week's session of Pax Mithdosica. So, where we stopped off last time, I was actually going to start explaining, but Yogi and Ethan, I mean, you guys were the sort of in the pilot seat for the second half of that. So, what were we up to last time?
Well, right at the end, we were investigating people that worked at the workshop because there are a lot of like faulty goods that are not going right.
Indeed. Do you remember where you'd progressed in your investigation?
We went to a guy in a tent that was drawing people and things. Then we went to a bar with some like loud guy.
I remember what we were doing.
Now we're going somewhere else where there's a quiet guy.
And it's leaning towards incompetence over sabotage.
Yeah.
Yes, I do remember that as well.
The two we've interviewed first have a ton of experience with stuff.
All right. Well, yeah, so we'd gone to the workshop, and now we are going to interview the last folk. Let's see who we talked to. So we already spoke to Harris. He was the boisterous one drinking with his lads. We already spoke with Hortius, I believe. Wait, let me see.
Are we not going to do the how's your guys' weeks going thing?
No, I don't think we will.
Lunch?
I'm just gonna say big words anyway.
This is
Don't we
a
usually
business
do that
session,
off
so we
stream?
gotta get shit done. I'm just trying to find the names of the people that you already investigated. Okay, I know you did Harris. I'm pretty sure. Who's the next line?
Either the artist or the bar guy.
Yeah, but you didn't. You didn't write
know
down names, so it's not useful. Okay, Antonius. So yeah, you guys spoke with Harris and Antonius. The last one to speak to is Hortius.
Didn't I write down that? Oh, I absolutely wrote down the names. Sorry.
Nice. Then you can.
I might
confirm what
have.
I just said. Yeah.
Yes,
so-
Porcius Zednius Tiberius.
Hortius and Tiberius. Yeah, that's the last one you need to speak to.
Yep.
And you guys are going to make your way across camps. Just to summarize where we're at right now so everyone knows where they are, it is 2 p.m. on November the 12th. Zednius and Maximus are in the driver's seat investigating this whole thing. Severus, you were originally trying to spend time with people. Everyone left you. You are now alone. Renesmee is on a horse riding back to that pond. And then Lars, you were just petting Gore somewhere in the camp. So, with everyone locked in position, Zednius and Maximus, you guys make your way across camp. And you are looking for Hortius. You can find him a bit separated from most of the other folks. You were told that he was staying in his tent, and you can walk through the quiet areas because it's 2 p.m. Most people are doing stuff. They're either patrolling, they're preparing the war camp, they're doing drills, getting ready for the oncoming battle. So the actual sleeping areas of the camp is very, very quiet. But sure enough, you can see that just outside the tent of Hortius, at the center of his little Contubernnium's campsite, there's a pot of rolling water. It seems as if a stew is being made, and you can hear sort of humming coming from inside the tent.
All right then. Hello.
You hear sort of movement inside and something being like, you hear like a book closing, sort of that like slapping of paper, and then a head pokes outside. It's relatively clean shaven, as he should be. His hair is well done. His uniform is still like mostly done up, but he just puts in the top 2 buttons and says, "Hello?" And then his eyes lift up and he sees your judge's badge, and he quickly like scrambles fully out of the tent and stands up, saluting the two of you.
Yeah, at ease, whatever. Are you Porcius? Portius?
Portius Zednius Tiberius, yes.
Porcius. Yes, that one. Yeah. You work over in the workshop?
Yes, sir. I'm an engineer.
Yeah, mind if we ask you a few questions? What's been going on over there?
Of course. Can I ask what this is all about?
You know, investigating the comings and goings of experimental workshop.
Has something happened?
Specific? No, I don't think so. No. Why?
No, I was just curious. I mean, obviously I work there every day, so it's good to know if anything bad is happening.
Yes, of course.
Battle.
Of course. God, I have to I was in the zone last time, but
Right.
I fucking
I feel like, isn't it known that we're doing
I dropped
investigations?
it last time.
You guys started about in world. You
Is it-
started this investigation about 4 hours ago.
But isn't that why nobody was in the workshop? Is because they knew that there was some kind of investigation thing going to happen?
Yes, I think that was
I
your
think-
understanding.
weren't they
is
just-
that he
What they
them
just
that-
told they were given the day off?
Correct. Yeah, he
Oh.
told them to excavate the
Okay.
workshop so you guys would be able to investigate it. Or not
Okay.
excavate, evacuate. Jesus.
Okay, what was the process we went through with the other people?
Yeah, so I'm just gonna I know that that's why I wanted to go a bit long last time, just so we could wrap up the investigation, because it's always tough to slot back in. So we were the prompt you guys got correct earlier. You are investigating several objects. Like, there's been tons of failures of equipment, and you guys went to the workshop to investigate that, and you confirmed it. There is tons of sign, basically only in the experimental section. Almost every one of these weapons has been sabotaged in a very subtle and expert way, so that it's pretty hard to tell that they were even sabotaged to begin with. There's also a secret tent flap into the tent, which Het Hagal is currently watching to make sure that no one's like sneaking
Right.
back into the tent. So then, once you've done all that, you decided that you should better go talk to the 3 engineers who work in experimental engineering. The first guy you talked to was the artist. You asked him questions like, do you work there? Have you seen anything suspicious? Like, what do you do there? And then I'm trying to remember. And then you asked to see like some of the drawings in his notebook to see if there was anything weird there, but it was mostly just like you guys and a portrait of Renesmee, soldiers around the camp, things like that. The next one you went to was the sort of boisterous, extravagant, very like sociable engineer who was drinking at noon. He got you guys some drinks, which I think you both only took a sip of, and he basically came off as very incompetent. Like, he basically had no idea what he was doing. And then so basically your goal was just to figure out if they had sabotaged this, if they saw anything, and then I don't know where you guys were planning on going from there.
All right, I've got an idea now.
Okay, yeah.
All right.
So you've just asked him, he's answered your question, and then he said he just wanted to know if anything was happening in the workshop.
Yeah. No, nothing like that. We're just wondering if you've, seen anything suspicious recently. People who shouldn't be there. Things out of place. Things breaking all of a sudden.
Breaking.
Anything like
Well,
that?
yes, there's been plenty of equipment failures. That's true enough. But for seeing anyone suspicious, not really.
Any
What's your
idea why?
opinions of your peers?
Well, Antonius is very homesick. I can tell that. I'm shocked he's even in the legions. But he has good senatorial blood, and he seems to be at least somewhat committed to his position. Harris should not be in this position at all. He seems to have only been promoted due to the fact that he's very likable.
Any insight as to why the equipment keeps breaking?
We're trying to do the cutting edge of science. It's not to be, it's not very surprising. I'm more surprised that the commanders even think we can prepare a solution like this so quickly. I mean, even if we got it all working today, you'd still want the soldiers to drill with it for weeks before they use it in an upcoming battle. Imagine the chaos it'll create when a naval gun goes off and people don't know what to expect.
So you don't believe that it should be used in the upcoming battle?
Of course not. Half these legionnaires are so stupid they can't even count up to 10 in proper mythos. How the hell are they going to organize with the cannons and the spiked shields and new drilling tactics? My guess is they'll all just scatter and sprint in all directions. That's what you expect from enlisted men. That's all they can do.
No, I was an enlisted man back in the day.
Well, the fact that you're standing before me here seems to be a testament to your character, good sir. Good Lord Judge.
Yeah. All right, then.
What was your occupation before joining the Legion?
Well, I was going to be a tribunus, but the village that my family once ruled over no longer exists, so I've been in the Legion since then. So I was about 16.
And how do you know so much about weapons making and such?
Our village was right on the edge of the Deadwood, and So civil fortifications were a large part of our time, rather than building, dikes to prevent the river from flooding or irrigation to make sure the next harvest was good. We busied ourselves with palisades and new constructions. I've had a hammer in my hand since I was a boy. And so once everything else was destroyed, I thought being an engineer in the Legions would be the next greatest fit. I was aiming to be an officer, but... well.
All right. Well, unless you have anything else for him, Zednius.
No, I've got my questions answered.
All right. Thank you for your time. We'll walk off.
Yeah, he nods and sort of just stands there at attention for a while until you guys basically walk around the corner, and then he disappears out of sight.
A tribunus is like a politician kind of guy, right? What is that?
Tribunus is basically the lowest ranking politician that actually rules over other people. All those little city lords that you met, like through all your different missions, those have all been tribunuses.
Okay.
Within the legions, they actually are very influential. Those are like pretty high grade officers, but in terms of civil administration, they're pretty low tier.
All right.
Well, he seems to be the only competent one.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't seem to want the weapons to be used in combat. So it's not implausible that he's...
Sabotage?
It's not implausible. Could be.
He's the only one that would be able to, that would have the skill, if it's intentional.
It's true. Perhaps, see what Hetagal finds, let them go back to work, see if he,
That's true.
see if he does anything. I'll have Hetagal keep an eye on it, although that'll take...
It might be an entire day.
Yes. Need evidence. Can't force a confession out of him. Wouldn't do any good.
No.
So. Suppose we leave it
Yep.
for now, then.
Okay.
Who do
so
we
your plan is
tell-
to leave Hetagal in his position, and then
Yeah, and to let them return to work.
Okay, and to join up with the rest of the judges.
Yes.
All right. Well, it's a pretty trifling thing to go back to Primus Pilus Matani and tell him to send the engineers back to work. He informs you that he sort of gave them the better part of the day off. Some of them are probably drunk by now, so probably not today. But starting with the evening shift, so at around 6 hours, he can have them get back to work. So he will sign that paperwork, make it official. Then you guys can begin to reunite. Your campsite on the edge of the larger camp is currently occupied by Severus and Lars. Lars is petting his dog. Severus is leaning against his tent. There is no Renesmee to be seen.
Yeah, I'm actually currently eating just a bowl of stew. I assume is what they hand out here.
Yeah,
right?
porridge stew, generally
Something
that's
to,
your type
something
of
to
food.
like.
Maybe some oatmeal, who's to say?
Save some for me.
I don't think I will.
So, once you guys are reunited, just to remind you of the tasks ahead, you have to
Right.
meet with the Tribunus tonight, the second in command of the Legion. You don't know why. You just know that he specifically requested to meet with you judges, which has sort of led to you not really having anything else you can fit. Unless you guys have all the missions before you. You were briefed last session on basically every mission the camp has. So is there anything you think you can fit into the about 4 hours before the evening? Probably 3 hours by now.
Let me see.
I mean, the ones that we wanted to do were like the Deadwood, which we'll
Yeah.
have to wait till tomorrow, and then there's the Bard, which we chose to do the Deadwood instead.
That we can't do.
Then there's the journey to go kill the corrupted blood hunter. Most of these things are day-long activities. So
Yeah.
okay, all right then. Well,
Unless,
then-
well, how
Well,
far
wouldn't
away
I-
is the scouting mission?
you don't know.
We don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't know.
You could ask him. You could go find him.
Yeah. It's my cousin, so he'll give us more info that some of these other people have given us.
How long were they investigating? Wouldn't I have gone to the sacred pond and back by now?
Yeah, so you'll be arriving there about the time they finish investigating.
Oh, cool.
So, Renesmee, you've been riding on horseback from the war camp out to that pond where your weapons were anointed. You ride about an hour to the northwest across the hilly terrain of Regianova. You pass through a village. You get a couple friendly waves from farmers going about their business. Even if your judge's badge isn't displayed, they'll still give you some of that countryside hospitality. And you can make your way towards that pond. It's in the middle of a grove. The water is crystal blue, allowing you to see to its bottom. It's just as, clean and undirtied as it was when you saw it in the early morning.
How large is this pond?
It's pretty large. I think it's 50 by 30 feet, so it's pretty shallow, but it's very large.
I would like to approach the pond and then, dismount Nami.
Okay.
And I'd like to get up close to the pond and just kind of look at my reflection through it.
Yeah, you look into the crystal clear waters. Due to how see-through they are, the reflection is pretty hard to see. There's not a lot of hard light splashing off the water, but you're able to see a rough outline of you. It's very still water as well, so you can see your face pretty well. You see a half-elven woman looking back at you, yourself.
Yeah. As I stare into the water, I will, I'm growing in frustration with the gods, and I'm gonna say, why won't you answer me? And can I take a dip in the pond?
Yeah, I mean, do you just want to dip a foot in? Do you want to fully just go into the water?
No, I want to disrobe.
Sure. Yeah.
And just go in the pond and be like, is this enough for you? What do you need from me?
You leave your clothes and your equipment on your horse and you head into the water. It's pretty shallow, so you can really only get to the maximum, up to your mid-calf. But you move out into the water and then sort of lay down, so you're mostly immersed in the water. Unfortunately, there is no reply to your prayer.
I figured. Yeah. Renesmee gets frustrated and she splashes the water in frustration and she's like, fuck. She gets emotional about it probably.
Yeah.
And then she wants to get out of the water, grab a tiny little bit on her hand and kind of splash a little on Nami and be like, fucking good luck.
Alright.
And then I will curse the gods. Not curse them, but I will be like, what the fuck is so special about everyone else? But when I'm in need, it's silence from you. And then, get back on my horse
the
and go
pond
back.
does not reply.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you get back, you re-equip your armor, and I guess you don't have armor, but your clothes and your weapons, climb back.
I have leather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you begin to leave the pond behind. You leave the pond behind. You head back through the village, back towards the war game. And you can ride back with everyone else. The 5 judges, you guys are now united. Renesmee gets there probably 5-6 minutes after you guys have finished, maybe a little bit before, 5-6 minutes before you guys conclude your investigation. And the 5 of you are unified. It sounds like you have no real tasks that you can do in the next 3 hours before your meeting with the Tribunus. So if you'd like, we can just skip forward through some recreation time of you guys just tending to your own needs and to the meeting with the Tribunus.
Alrighty.
Sure.
Alright, well, at around maybe 10 minutes before the meeting.
Hecko, did you want to do something?
I was gonna ask, I was gonna ask Zenith and Maximus how the investigation went, and maybe if they wanted me to, later when the evening shift is happening, to sneak into the people's tent and look if I find anything suspicious.
When they're working?
I'll at least
Yeah, while
say,
they're working.
unless you can go invisible, we have Het Hagal over there currently. I'm not sure what you would add that He
What?
can't do better.
I thought Het is
Yeah.
where they're working, not where
He
they're
is
living.
at the hidden flap, yeah. He's staking out the workshop to see.
Yeah, I was offering to stake out the homes if you want me to. Or like tents.
I'm not quite sure that's necessary.
Alright.
Alright.
Okay. Well, about 10 minutes before your meeting with the Tribunus, Yogi, you get mental image from Het Hagal. It is the sound of workers. They've returned to work. So starting now, the rest of the evening, Het Hagal is a long time of just hearing like hammers swinging and workers cursing and songs being sung to try to entertain themselves, because this is going to be a very late shift for these poor guys.
Right.
But yeah, you just get that image to let you know that they've returned to work. And the 5 of you guys are you getting dressed up like in all your informal clothing for this meeting with the Tribunus, or are you staying in your standard, military kit and garb for the frontier?
What would be the social norm?
It depends if he's coming to you from an official capacity as a representative of the government, or this is a personal meeting.
I suppose we don't know, so I'm going to err on the side of caution.
I don't really have fancy clothes, so
Okay, so yeah.
I'll wear
I'm
my
pretty-
like good clothes, I guess. Zednius and I have
I've got a lot
your
of clothes.
student clothes.
I'm wearing the same stuff.
Fashionable clothes.
Yeah, true. Zednius and you are fashionable, modern even.
Oh yeah.
I've got fashionable, common, fine, and travelers.
There it is. Yeah, so you guys can make your way to the Tribunus' tent. It's within the officers section of the camp. And unlike some of the centurions or even the prefect, there is no guards like standing outside the tent. It's a large purple tent, and it has the emperor's personal flag, not the flag of the empire, the Cairo, but the personal flag of the emperor, fluttering from the top of the tent. The flaps are weighted down with these like little strips that probably have like lead or something in them to keep the tent flap closed. But you can see light from inside, light of probably a brazier or maybe a bunch of candles. So you know the tent's occupied. So who's going to be the brave person to step in first?
I will.
All right.
Yeah, I'll follow behind him.
All right.
Yep.
So you push the tent flap open, and inside you can see that the Tribunus has prepared his tent for visitors. There's a total of 5 chairs for you guys. They're just sort of generic, like stretched cloth over a wooden frame, nothing too fancy. And a large plush chair. Whatever was once in the tent, like if this is actually where he sleeps, he must have moved the bed or something like that. It's become a sort of impromptu meeting room. And you can see that the Tribunus is seated in the plush chair. He's wearing his legionary uniform with a small Cairo pin on his chest. He has pursed lips and seems to be looking at you all like a little bit disapprovingly as you enter, but he does wave his right arm to gesture for you to all sit.
I will sit.
give him a small bow of the head, just for respect.
All right. Yeah, you guys each ease yourselves down, and everything is very ordered in here. There's a writing desk with even like the writing pen organized, the ink pot organized, and the paper like made straight. The boots have been ordered in like order of which one's the smallest to the largest. There's spare uniform draped across the bed, and even that, or not the bed, across the desk, and it has all of its like creases perfectly done. There's this level of uniformity and attention to detail throughout the tent that seems almost obsessive. And the Tribunus waits until the 5 of you are seated. Lars, are you coming in with Gore?
I'll whisper for him to like sit and wait at the door outside.
Okay. Yeah. Then he will look you all and nod. I have been in contact with our mutual friend Cicero. He has given me orders. He has determined the governor of Regionova, the governor of Transatlia, and several old, high-ranking senators, including a member of Great Clan Viria and the Consul Militum, are all guilty of heresy and treason against the Empire. But Cicero is a reasonable man. As a servant of the Emperor, he wishes to see his army succeed on the battlefield. Therefore, the Consul Militum will remain in his position until this current battle has concluded. Only in the days following the battle will the Consul Militum be dealt with. His true guilt matters not anymore. His execution writ has been handed down from the highest echelons of power. Therefore, you are to assist me in removing him from power. When the battle concludes, stick around for a couple of days. In the off chance the Consul Militum catches wind of our investigation, you will be lawfully required to detain him until proper authorities arrive. You can bring him until you can bring him before the proper tribunal.
Does that list of names match the people that we knew that were colluding to sacrifice the fort?
He did not mention any of the Centurions. You have no evidence of the Governor Transatlia being involved in this. He mentioned an old Senator Viria, who's the guy that you stayed in the house of in Ravinium.
Okay.
And then the Tribunus sort of continues. I assume you all have no problem in executing these duties. If necessary, I do have written orders from my superior. And the Tribunus looks at you all, and that final statement about the written orders seems to almost be a challenge. Like, he's almost like, you would dare question me, but if you would, I do have evidence.
I have no problem. Just tell me where you need my strength.
Of course not. Your word is such as it would have been given down by the Emperor himself, and we will follow it as such. All of us.
Indeed. Well, as long as there's no problem in executing your duties, then should you be needed, I will inform you. For now, it seems as if the Consul Militum busies himself with preparations for the battle rather than treason. And I've heard that all the other conspirators are going to be taken care of by other resolute forces of the Emperor.
They will be executed.
Most likely. If they are guilty, which, according to all things that I have seen, they are, then they will be brought back to Mythos, and they will be strangled in front of yelling crowds. For treason, for such high-ranking individuals in the Empire, the only proper punishment is public execution.
I've probably seen a few of these. How do these usually go? And what happens, this is is treason against the Empire, I assume it's obviously the highest crime. Do, members of the family or something get punished? Do they just get, do they get stripped of the titles and stuff, I assume?
Yeah, treason is one of those things that has actually changed a lot in the last couple centuries. When the emperors first took charge of the Republic, treason was defined as any attempt to subvert the state. That is not how treason is defined anymore. It is now defined as actions against the body of the emperor, which is equivalent to trying to assassinate the emperor. So in terms of punishment, you will be killed. If not necessarily your families, though, they'll just be socially ostracized. Your clan will be fine, though it will certainly damage their reputation. Only the individual that can be proven to be guilty will be killed, but the manner of death is always meant to be incredibly humiliating. If they were legate, then they'll be stripped down to commoners' clothes, and a huge parade will be held, which at the end they'll be strangled. This goes for older, old men, all the way down to young boys, anyone that can be proved to have been involved in the conspiracy even slightly. The last major purge of this scale, though, where you're killing several consuls, proconsuls, old senators, you haven't heard of anything like this since the Light Wars, which was almost 80 years ago.
Are we, dare I ask, are we allowed to know what they did? What
do you mean?
What they conspired on?
But
of course,
Tribunus
yes,
looks
but
at you
I'm
with
just...
pursed lips.
What, were they trying to kill the Emperor?
Impossible.
All crimes against the Empire are crimes against the person of the Emperor. We are all his property and his children. Therefore, any attempt to subvert the Empire is direct threat to the Emperor. I do not know the nature of their crime. It matters not. They are in conspiracy, and the writ of execution has been handed down.
Of course.
Good. I hope that when the moment of pivotal action comes, you will not waste your time asking such questions.
Are you afraid there are any such loyalists in the current camp? Such that we might be faced with them trying to wiggle their out of it, even potentially with a fight?
The men of any legion should be loyal to their commander. That is why we must present a unified front. If judges of the Empire, a tribunus, and soon enough some new visitors, all come to arrest the Consul Militum, it'll be up to each man to recognize the Emperor's supreme authority. There may be some who stick with their commander, others who do not see the true severity of his crime. These will not be punished. Loyalty is important.
Has the Arcanist been informed of this?
No. You are the only people, and I, who know of this.
And I assume that should stay that way.
Yes. Until Master Cicero, alongside a small contingent of reinforcements from the capital, arrive in the coming days, we will keep this to ourselves. You only must know...
Reinforcements?
Yes.
What kind?
He sort of does that thing again, where he purses his lips.
Alright, alright.
Now, are you all sufficiently satisfied to execute your duty for the Emperor?
Yes.
Always.
He pretty pointedly stares at Lars now.
Whatever you need me to do, I'm doing it.
Good. That is all. You're dismissed.
Right then.
I'll get up, I'll leave.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wait, this.
Yeah, he doesn't even give you a second look. He doesn't ever, nowhere in that interaction did he ever stand to salute you or recognize your station. And, you know, Maximus, for you, it probably wouldn't be the biggest slight ever just because you're used to being treated like that, but he treated you like, you know, an enlisted man in the Legion. And he's only, you know, he's not your superior in any way. Like, objectively, you are higher ranked in the Empire than him, but he did not seem to respect that by any means. I know you don't. I know Maximus wouldn't care, but, you know, others may. You guys can exit the tent. It's late now. It's probably, you know, it was only a 5-minute meeting, so it's like 6:05. It's late enough that you probably can't do any of like the Deadwood stuff unless you want to be leaving during the night. So other than the investigation stuff, I think the rest of you... Actually, no. Severus, you said you want to go to the tents. Maximus and Zenius, you guys...
No, I asked if I should.
Oh.
And they said that it isn't necessary, so about.
Oh, okay. Then it sounds like we're just going to bed. Yep.
Wait,
Is my cousin a
actually,
part of the people that were
what's-
accused?
No centurions were accused. And what were you saying, Peach?
Okay, sure.
Two things. Number one, can you say the people that were accused again? And number two, what is the most common animal at this campsite?
The most common animal would probably be rats. And the listed people accused were the governor of Regia Nova, which is the same thing as Ravinium, that's the capital of Regia Nova, the governor of Transatlia, several old high-ranking senators, including a member of Great Clan Viria, and the consul militum.
What clan
Got
are
it.
the consul militant and the two governors from?
The consul militum is from Clan Bologna. The governor of Regia Nova is from Clan, I want to say Jania. I'm like 99% sure it's Jania, but I'm gonna double check.
How are rats treated
Yeah, it's Jania.
in this camp?
I mean, they're
Ignored?
Killed on sight?
Yeah, I'd say mostly, yeah. I mean, they're like cockroaches, you know? If it gets close enough to you, you'll slap it, but other than that, you're not going to go out of your way to kill it because there's 100 others.
Okay,
Excuse me?
well, I'm going to go back to the campsite, you know, with everyone else, and then once I get into my tent, I'm going to wild shape into a rat, and I would like to go to the consul militum's tent.
Oh my, okay, well. Yeah, Hecko, in the US, we have a lot of cockroaches. And if you see them, there's definitely more.
Yeah, I've only ever seen like a few of them, and they were
Yeah, we don't have the
some of
scary
most
ones, though. We
disgusting
don't
insects
have
I've
the-
ever seen.
Yeah, we don't have the hissy ones, luckily. Actually, wait.
We
do
have
in
the
Florida.
we have the scary ones down here.
Yeah.
Fuck all that.
What do you mean by scary?
They're fucking
They
massive
hiss, and
here.
they fly, and they bite.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
They
I
do
remember
all of
anyways.
those
something, and
things,
it's
yes.
one crawling out of the drain.
So,
Oh,
moving on from cockroaches. Yes, Renesmee, when you guys get back to the campsite, you can head into your tent, Renesmee, and the horrible sound of compression and the growing of fur and the shrinking of flesh is not overheard by anyone else as you become a rat. And you can begin to scamper out of your tent, just sticking away from road paths and using tents as sort of like cover as bushes, you know.
Yeah.
You can easily get to the officer's section. For the rest of you guys, Lars, Severus, I assume you're just going to sleep because, you know, you don't have anything to do. Maximus
If
and Zenius,
my-
oh, sorry?
If my cousin is still awake, I want to go meet with him.
Yeah, when you guys were exiting the Tribunus's tent, you could have gone to meet with him if you'd like.
Yep.
Okay, so that's Lars. Okay, then Severus, are you just sleeping?
yeah.
Okay.
Wait, actually,
Rested boy.
the guy that I insulted, the religion dude.
Yes,
Could I ask for an audience
the
with him?
Centurion.
Yes,
Okay.
Centurion.
Can you what?
Ask for like an audience or a meeting with him.
It's really late, probably not today. Keep that in mind for
In
tomorrow.
that case, can I like leave him or like one of his servants a missive that I'd like to talk to him and apologize?
Yeah, probably. And then Maximus and Zenius, you guys have an investigation, but also Hedhegal should probably be the one to communicate if he sees something, and he can wake you up, Zenius. Are you guys just going to bed?
If he can wake me up, yeah.
Okay. All right, so
Sounds good.
as you guys exit the Tribunus' camp, you stop outside to talk for a minute. Renesmee goes back with Maximus and Zenius, whereas Severus and Lars split up to go speak with different people in the officers section. Severus, you can make your way to the tent of Centurion Corvinus. It has several accolades and different things denoted on either side of the tent entrance for his service. There is several guards on duty outside of the tent, which one of them you can leave your message. What exactly are you telling them?
I'm telling her them in a very respectful manner. I probably won't even be looking at the faces, but just have my head bowed
Sure.
the whole time. And I'll say I'd like to apologize for my slight and deep insult towards the Centurion.
The
If he-
two guards look between each
if
other, and
he'd
one of them
be
nods.
politer.
And who are you again?
Oh dear.
Severus of Octavius Aulus Canidia. One
Severus
of the
Canidia.
judges.
All right. I'll let the Centurion know in the morning.
Right.
He nods. And Lars, you can make your way to your cousin's tent. Even though it's late, he has been, as we discussed before, reassigned to the position of Scoutmaster, so he is still awake. There is light underneath the flap of his tent, and he has one guard outside, but introducing yourself as Lars Regia, he will quickly wave you through. Your cousin looks really stressed, as he has for most of the time he's been in the war camp. He's currently staring at a table, which looks to be sort of a real-time map that's been added onto by additional scouting missions. It shows the Fort Romulus, the valley around it, and then positions of enemy forces, and there's a lot of those little markers on that map. And he glances up as you enter and gives you a sort of strained smile. Lars?
I was hoping you could indulge me in a break. Looks like you could use one.
Maybe. I need to finish this report so I can give it to the Consul Milton when he wakes up. What were you thinking?
Well, I'm assuming you got something to drink around here.
Well, I mean, of course I do, but what's the cause for celebration?
Nothing yet. Just don't want us to get too worked out by the time everything comes up.
You know,
Chance to relax a little bit.
He walks over to his bed and reaches in between the mattress and the flooring, and he pulls out a bottle of what looks to be Mythosian brandy, which would be from the capital. And he places it on the table and says, "Go easy on that. Both of us have to do stuff tomorrow."
I understand. Do you put out 2 glasses?
Yeah. He'll grab 2 wooden cups from another cupboard. It's all very fancy. Maybe not the wooden cups as much, but the fact that he has a cupboard inside of a tent is pretty fancy. And he is still mostly focusing on the report, but he can hold a conversation while he's adding the final touches to the map.
Yeah, I think we'll just have idle chit chat while I'm sipping, trying to get him to take his mind off work for a little bit.
Yeah, he'll do his best. He has hobbies. He can talk about those. Horse riding, and he even purchased what do you call those things? They're not kennels. They're called a pound. He even purchased a pound back in Regia, which is where you guys the city that you were both from. But he's still very consumed by this map, and as he continues to add markers, by the end of your guys' conversation, there are probably 400 plus little red X's marking enemy positions throughout the valley. And he looks increasingly despaired as the evening gets later. And as it gets pretty late, the sound outside of the camp gets pretty quiet, he sort of rolls up the map. The ink has now dried, and he says, "Well, I think I need to turn in now, Lars."
Rest up. We got a lot going on the rest of this week.
Once you're done with your service in the frontier, you should go back to Regia. Even if you don't want to see your father, I'm sure my mother would like to see you.
I'm still considering it.
All right. Hell, even if you joined the Legions, I'm sure we'd be more than happy to have a fighter like you. Maybe you wouldn't be an officer to start with, but you could work your way up.
Yeah.
It was only a joke. I know the Legion wouldn't quite be for you. You'd probably punch your commanding officer when he told you something you didn't like.
Yeah. So far, this gig that we got going on right now is a lot more enjoyable.
He nods and pats you on the shoulder. He leans down and he gives Gore like a gentle pat in the head. You know, Gore's not the type of dog that you go down and like give him tons of rubs. That's not who Gore is.
I think his sense of familiar enough that Gore lets him. So
okay, yeah, he'll give Gore a belly rub and then stand up and say, "I'll see you tomorrow. We still need to go on that scouting mission."
Yeah, we're pretty stretched thin, so I'm trying to find a good time for it.
All right, sounds good. And he goes out and snuffs some candles in his room as you exit his tent. And now we cut to Rat Nesme.
Oh,
Rat
that came
Nesme?
a pickup.
Yeah,
I was thinking.
Didn't like that.
I like it.
Good.
Yeah, so Rat Nesme, you are moving through the camp, and for most animals, you know, stealth checks, but the thing is, it doesn't even matter if someone sees you. Like, worst case scenario, you get kicked. And that wouldn't kill you either, because they're not like trying to murder you, they're just kicking you out of the way. So you can scamper across the camp at some of the major intersections where it's like 8 feet of ground you have to cover where it's totally exposed. You have to dodge some feet and people cursing, and you know, one person even tries to like stamp on your head, but little Rat Nesme runs across the area, avoiding
Rat
falling
Nesme.
boots. It's when you reach the officer's tent section that it gets a lot harder, because there is like an interior palisade wall, so like a wood wall built around the officer section. So there's only one entrance, which is guarded by a bunch of guards. Now, you could probably just run across the open terrain straight towards the Consul Militum's tent, but it would look a little bit weird to see a rat beelining its way towards the commanding officer's tent. So do you have a strategy in mind of how you're going to approach it without being suspicious?
Can you draw out just like roughly what this is looking like?
So roughly, we're on the right here. So it's like it's sort of square shaped. There's the main entrance. There's a bunch of like lower ranking officers' tents here. There's a bunch of higher ranking like centurions' tents here, and at the very back is the Consul Militum's tent, along with like, and there's a shit ton of guards throughout this central, I guess you could call it a courtyard, because this is where all the officers are sleeping. So like this
Got it.
courtyard
And
has guards.
do I smell any food anywhere with my little rat
certainly,
nose?
yeah. With your little rat nose, you can smell that the officers' section of the war camp has more food than practically anywhere else.
Ah, very good. And where do I smell this food coming from? Relatively everywhere. Every tent.
Probably every tent. Yeah, in the officer section of the camp.
All right. Well, I would like to, come up along this wall.
Mhm.
Squeak, squeak, squeak. Go here, go around these tents, maybe, sniff over here,
Okay, so
sniff, sniff. Sniff,
yeah, your
sniff,
first
sniff,
major
and then I'm
obstacle is
go
going to come like
behind.
when you're on this starting little section. Like so there's a guard there, like standing against the wall, and you're just moving right along the edge of this wooden palisade, doing tiny little squeaks and sniffs, and the guard sort of glances down at you, and you have this moment where Rat Nesme looks up at this guard, 30, 100 times taller than you, and you get that feeling of like what humans feel like looking up to a true giant, like one of those 40-foot tall behemoths.
Oh yeah.
This guard looks down at you, and he's going to raise his boot to crush you, so only a dex save as a rat.
Oh my god. Okay, one sec. I did not prepare this.
That's fine. I'll go find your rat stat block. It's a neutral modifier, so it's just a flat d20 to avoid getting stamped by a boot.
Oh.
How much
Do I
HP does she have?
I don't have any modification.
No, it's no modifier. Rats have a 0 dex modifier.
Roll d20.
There you go. All right, a 12. Let me
God.
roll something for the guards. Boot. All right. The boot slams down and strikes the earth directly beside you. Now sprinting full speed in Rat Nesme form, you bound past the guard and around the little slope. You hear the guard curse under his breath, and he says,
Oh, goodness.
"Go wake up one of the dogs and find her." Or it. He doesn't recognize it's a female, right? And he just the guard just says, "Go wake up one of the dogs and find it. We don't want them eating the officer's food." And you're able to make out, every word, though it feels sort of slow and deeply bassy as it shakes your little body. And you can move behind this would be the greater officer's tent. The first tent that you move behind, you can hear talking from inside. You sort of squirm your little head underneath the tent underneath like the edge of one of the tents being held down by stakes, and you look up into the tent. You see a table with 2 chairs drawn up to it, a bottle of brandy on the table, a dog sitting next to the table, getting pat on the head.
Scurry the fuck out as fast as I can, but like silently. I'm aware that I need to be quiet as fuck.
Then you try to stealthy fast, scurry out of the tent. Roll me a d20 flat.
He's trying to fuck me right now.
All right, so you begin to move, like you try to pull your head out of the tent, and you're not particularly quiet. And Lars, as you were, with your cousin, the two of you were drinking that brandy and looking at the map. At one moment during the meeting, Gore sort of lifted his head and looked towards the edge of a tent. A massive bark erupted from his mouth, and you saw the tail of a little rat squeezing its way out of the tent. I assume, Lars and Gore are not super concerned with hunting rats.
No, but also Lars also wouldn't stop him if he chased after him.
Okay. Well, yeah, Gore is dutiful enough to remain there. So, Rat Nesme, you survive that encounter with a dog. And you begin to check some other superior officers' tents. Most of them are...
yeah, I mainly just want to go to the Consul Militum's tent, honestly, and then hide in the bushels.
You're dropping all disguise and being a normal rat and just sort of doing a U-shaped beeline towards the Consul Militum's tent?
Well, I would like to pretend to be a rat, but I want to pretend to be a rat that's scurrying kind of like against the wall here.
Because so you move from cover to cover, you're like staying in the darkness. You are, Metal Gear Rat Nesme.
Yes.
And you can pretty successfully move through this edge of camp. If what the guard said was true and they did fetch a dog, it's a terrible looking dog because it does not find you as you scurry your way through the area.
Thank fuck.
And you arrive at the back of the Consul Militum's tent. This thing is big. It's like borderline not even a tent. It's a huge pavilion that hosts, war meetings, has his personal quarters and all these things. So there's basically anywhere along its rim, you'll be able to fit your little body into the pavilion. Is there a specific, are you going to try to fit in through the back side of the tent or the side, or are you just going to try to sneak in through the front?
Do I hear anything?
Yes, there is sort of muffled talking from roughly the center-ish of the tent. Or pavilion.
Do I see any, shadows in the tent? Or, even if there's stagnant shadows of,
I think, the center of the tent, it has light coming in from inside, which would sort of shine through the cloth. The right and left-hand side of the tent have no noticeable shadows or light or any noise, really.
Is there moving shadows and stagnant shadows? I want to go towards something stagnant, like a box or a bed or something like that.
You preserve your own mental stats as an animal, so roll me your, on your sheet.
My intelligence?
Yeah.
Okay, one sec. How do I...
You just click intelligence. There you go. So it's not a save, which is going to be minus an amount. I'm not sure what the amount is, though. What's your proficiency bonus? If anyone has their sheet open, it's like a 3, right?
It's 3.
Yeah.
3? Okay, so that is actually a 17 minus 3. So it's 15. All right, so with a 15, it's 18 minus 3. So with an 18, sorry, 15. Jesus, I just had a giga stroke right there. With 15, you can exit from underneath the tent flap, and you find yourself underneath a stool. Technically, you're exposed, but directly above you is the bottom side of a wooden stool. In front of you is someone's legs, and from this very limited perspective, looking around the tent, you are in what looks to be the corner. If you would guess by the legs of the person in front of you, they are a guard. They have their armor still on, and you can hear talking from the center of the tent. I don't think you can identify who's talking or anything like that, because you really are just seeing legs and muffled voices. But you are inside the central room of the tent.
I just want to eavesdrop.
You just want to eavesdrop? Okay. You may want to move to a bit more of an advantageous position, because the immense bulk of this guarding on the bench is or on the stool above you is muffling the sound coming in by quite a bit.
Got it. What do I see here?
You can see legs, you can see table legs and also human legs. You can see that there is the dress of a servant woman in the corner of the room. That could be a pretty good place to hide if she doesn't notice you moving in there. The best spot would be underneath the table, but there'd be 8 or 9 inches of just open space you'd be running across and hoping no one was looking down and saw you out of the corner of their eye.
Do any... Oh no, because it wouldn't even matter. I can't cast spells in animal shape.
I actually think you can do your level 6 feature, right? Isn't that what it is? Oh wait, no, it's magical weapons.
No,
Sorry.
yeah.
Your claws are
I
magical,
can't
though.
cast, unfortunately, but my attacks are magical.
Sad day.
I can't decide where I should run. Can I just run somewhere that looks safe? Is there I'm not under the table because I'd have to create a distraction.
Yeah, and there's the woman's, skirt, and it'd be a good spot to hide if you can get there. But she'd probably notice, a rat moving underneath her dress.
I think she'd notice that. Is there not
Yeah.
can't I hide near a bed or in a?
So yeah,
just-
looking around, this is the the war room. So there's almost no objects just being left on the ground. There's no bed. There's no other than the stool you're currently hiding under. There's no crates or anything sitting on the ground. It's been kept mostly clean.
I can't even hear them.
It's pretty muffled. You eventually, if this guard just gets up from the stool, then you'll be able to hear them crystal clear because it's his bulk sitting on it and his legs draped in front of you and his shield sitting to the side that's making it so hard to hear. But
if
so
he gets up, will I be exposed?
You would be less in cover, most certainly. I mean, there would be nothing blocking their line of sight if they just looked underneath the chair, but the shadow of the chair could maybe help you hide.
Oh. Yeah, I will just stay there and really strain to hear. I don't want to give up my cover.
Yeah, roll perception check as a rat. Wait, no. You get your normal wisdom, so just normal perception.
Okay.
All right. You listen in. And again, muffled, but eventually the guard actually adjusts his left leg, so his legs are overlapping now, one's on top of the other.
Chad. Thank
the sound
God.
comes in, and you hear the consul militum speaking. He says, "Are you certain? I mean, that's a lot of dryads. I'm not sure if you'll be able to take them like that." And you hear the voice of, you think it's one of the centurions, but all 4 of them sound kind of similar, just 30. They're all in the same age bracket. They're all military men. They have a very similar candor. So one of the centurions is saying, "Certainly, my men can kill 40 dryads. I mean, in the Galentine War, we faced far worse than that." And you can hear the rest of the conversation. It's mostly talking about strategies for the upcoming battle. From what you can hear, the Consul Militum is not very confident in their ability to win, and constantly refers back towards the death of the Necromancer being the real turning of the tide to deliver any sort of victory.
Yeah. I'd
Are you
like to
hoping
continue staying.
Okay, you continue to stay. The centurion that was talking with him leaves. Several minor staff officers leave. Just the consul militum and his servants and a guard. He just stays there for a while, writing down notes. You can hear the sound of a ink pen scratching against paper. Presumably contemplating a map, because you can hear the edges of the map folding as he rolls it and unrolls it. And then eventually, you hear them say, "All right, Longinus, that's probably enough. You can head outside with the rest of the guards, and Lucretia, thank you for, serving tonight. I don't think we'll need any more wine." And the serving woman exits the chamber, and the guard that was sitting on the stool stands up and exits the room as well. It's dimly lit now, just by a couple candles, so there's no shot that the consul militum will be able to see you. And you can see him leaning over the table. He looks about the same as when you first met him. He has these sharp, sort of angular, hawkish features, but with the light sort of dimly across his face and alone, he looks a lot more, I'm going to say vulnerable, but he certainly still looks imposing, just less harsh than he normally does around other people, as he's just looking at this map, and you can see him pretty deep in thought.
I'm going to hang out. I'm just going to sit down, munch on my imaginary popcorn, and watch this guy stare at the map.
All right, the rat sits down.
I'm a fucking stalker. What can I say?
Yeah, he stays in the room for about 10 more minutes, looking at the map, and then he gives a big yawn. He begins to, he moves out of this main room through a tent flap into the left-hand chamber of the tent.
Okay.
Do you follow him? He's out of your line of sight as he passes through the tent flap.
Do I know roughly what is in the tent at all? Did I see the left flap?
You saw the left flap, but you, as both normal Renesmee in human form and in rat form, have never gone beyond this central war chamber.
No, I'm not gonna follow him. I'm just gonna wait for him to come back.
Yeah, he comes back maybe 5 10 minutes later. He's out of his uniform now, down to just, basically his underwear.
I'm glad I didn't follow him. Oh no, I would have gotten a peep show.
And he sort of licks his fingers and then, what do you call those? Presses them to the wicks of the various candles in the room, putting them out. You're plunged into almost total darkness, except for the candle being held by the Consumelitum. He does one sort of final glance over the map. He doesn't look stressed. Like, a lot of the Centurions under his command have this visible stress on their face, even if they don't talk about it out loud. He doesn't quite look like that. He just looks very thoughtful. And after taking a final look at the map, he heads into the left-hand chamber. And you are plunged into darkness as there's no lit candles anymore.
Don't rats have good night vision?
I mean, maybe, but certainly not actual dark vision, so it's still pretty dark, and you can't see shit. And he's also not in the room, so it wouldn't matter if you did.
Okay, well then, upon that,
Tell me you don't want to watch him while he's sleeping? What the heck? Where's the resume? I know.
True. Wait, do spiders have dark vision?
I think so. I know that the bigger ones do. I think the smaller ones do as well. Let me look.
Can I turn into a spider if they have dark vision?
Well, you can, but your, what do you call them? Shape transformations come back on long rests, so I don't know if you want to use.
No, they don't. They come back overnight.
Oh, do they? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're short rests.
Then yeah, you can turn into a Okay, so normal spiders do not have it. Let's check if giant spiders or wolf spiders do. Though, actually, I don't know if you'd want to turn into those. Those things are really big. Nope, none of them have dark vision.
What the heck? What? Are there any insects that have dark vision? Insects.
I'll leave that up to you. Because I mean, I'm looking at the forms you have, and none of them seem to have it.
1 second.
You can be a bat, but you'd have to be clicking constantly.
Oh, yeah, fucking. That'd be so annoying. Also, I don't have flying speed.
True. So you can be a walking bat.
I don't know. I'll just go back to camp. I don't have like a
out
dark
from
vision.
The pavilion, leaving the Consumelitum to sleep in his skivvies, and you circumnavigate the guards again. It's at this point, it's so late that seeing a rat scamper through the darkness probably isn't even noticeable. Like, it's just so dark. So you run across the road and run on the edge of people's tents. You hear some people sleeping, some people talking, some people writing, some people eating. Every single thing a person could be doing before bed, you can hear taking place. And you return to the campsite with the rest of the judges. Lars would already be asleep by now. Severus would be asleep. Maximus and Zednius' tent will be empty. We'll loop back to that in a sec. And you can just head to bed if you like.
Yeah, I would like to curl up in my little sleeping bag as a rat, and I would like to go to bed as a rat. I know that it will fade after 2 hours, but
but you'll be very cozy for about 2 hours.
Yeah, and I think that the whole transformation being at night, Vanessa probably prefers that.
Yeah.
She's
wholesome.
She sleeps.
Just a little rat sleeping in a sleeping bag. Wholesome.
Yeah.
Well, Maximus and Zednius.
How do the logistics of going big again work when you're lying down? Is the rat positioned in the very middle of the sleeping bag and you kind of extend out from it?
Well, it's actually
I have to account for it.
Yeah.
That's what I would do. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, it specifically says in the druid thing that when they fill a space, if it's big enough to fit them, then it's not a big deal. And a sleeping bag is big enough to fit a human, so her form would crack and pop, and maybe the whole transformation is a little bit longer than usual as her legs extend to fill the space. It would be a horrific thing to hear, but in terms of feeling, it wouldn't be that bad. However, Maximus and Zednius, you guys get about an hour of sleep. And then Zednius, you are woken up by a whisper in your mind. Arson.
Arson?
You get a flashed mental image of a person in dark common clothes squeezing their way through that tent flap into the workshop.
Oh, person. I get up and I go. Let me go wake up Maximus.
Yep, you can see Lars and Severus' tent flaps are closed, and Gore is rolled up into a ball sleeping outside of Lars' tent. And you can rouse Maximus from his slumber.
Maximus, someone's sneaking in. Hego saw them.
Oh, no. All right, then. All right. All right, I'll go put on just my breastplate.
Okay, just your breastplate.
Yep,
Yeah,
and
so
I'll
in the
grab
time that it's
I'll
gonna
grab
take...
my shield and my sword.
Okay, so while
Yep.
Maximus is donning his armor, you continue to get mental flashes every 20 or seconds or so. Etagal is now rolled inside the workshop and is watching this, cloaked figure, and they are doing very deliberate and slow work. They're taking out like a file, going to the rope, and then just ever slightly, moving it back and forth, and then using like a small knife to clean up the work so it doesn't look like it's been sanded and to rough up the surface again. Like very deliberate, very intentional work, but that wouldn't destroy it, but just make it weaker.
Right.
And you can just witness this tampering as Maximus is getting his gear on. And by the time Maximus is finished donning his breastplate and his equipment and standing up outside his tent with you, the cloaked figure has finished their work and is now moving back outside the flap, exiting the workshop. But they don't loop back to go back towards the camp. They are exiting the war camp entirely, walking towards a stand of trees about...
Hagal should follow him.
He is following you.
Okay.
And he's exiting the war camp entirely, going to a stand of trees about a quarter mile away from the war camp.
Did the Tenthans
Should we
any?
take the others?
Oh.
He's not there. He escaped. He's out in the woods at some sort of base.
No, I don't think we should wake the others quite yet. So you and me get on Maximus, and we'll follow him, but like from a distance, because Hetagal can be the one to actually follow him. We'll just stay within range of Hetagal.
Of course.
All right, that sounds good.
All right. The images begin to you get one last mental image from Hetagal, just his body plopping along the grass field as they move closer to that stand of trees. It's going to take maybe 6 minutes of walking for him to get there at the pace of the cloaked figure. And if you guys are getting on Mickey and you're willing to ride through the camp, you could probably catch up to him in less time than that.
Before he makes it back, do we want to wait for him to make it back to
the
his
stand
camp?
of trees? He's not going back to the...
Oh,
I see what you're saying. No, yeah, he's going to a stand of trees away from the war camp. That's going to take about 6 minutes to get there.
No, so we're gonna follow him till he gets to his destination.
Yeah, we're gonna trail him.
I see. Okay, so you guys get on Mickey and ride it to the edge of the war camp. There you dismount because horses are not particularly stealthy, and you get on foot. Doing a bit of a jog now. You guys can basically just from the gatehouse alone, you can see this lone figure walking towards a stand of trees. There are guards on duty at this gatehouse, but for whatever reason, they didn't stop this cloaked figure going towards that distant stand of trees. And you guys do you want to just stay here at the wall and watch him from here, or do you want to head out into the grass field and follow him?
Well, Hagal's gonna follow him.
That's way further than 100 feet, though, so he won't be able to see through his eyes.
Right.
But he could just transmit the information once he's completed.
Yeah, after he gets there, he could come back and then tell us exactly where it is.
So are you guys just going to stay here at the guardhouse? Or?
Yeah, that sounds good.
That makes the most sense to me.
So you guys get up into the guardhouse with two men that are on duty. They just, they're playing some... What's that game?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I'll go up there. I want to talk to them.
Yeah, okay, yeah. You can walk up the steps of the guardhouse to up there. There's two men in there and a large winch for opening up the wooden gates, and one of the guards glances over and sees you enter, but he sort of glances his eyes through the dark, and when he sees the judge's badge, he rockets up from his chair and gives a salute and says, "Lord Judge!" And the other man slams up as well.
Yeah, carry on. Go back. Are these men are they on duty to close the gate, or are they supposed to be watching?
They are on duty to open or close the gate if needed, but they're not actually on guard.
On watch? All right, who is on watch? I want to go talk to them.
Yeah, you can walk along, exiting the gatehouse. There's this palisade surrounding the entire war camp, and there's this rampart on the palisade, and you can see one guard just holding a torch, looking out towards the road leading to the war camp, and he's just looking out there. He looks pretty tired, but he's just staring out into the darkness.
I'll come up behind him silently.
Roll stealth check.
You weren't a breastplate. Does that give you disadvantage?
No, it doesn't. That's why I put it on.
No. Breastplate does not.
Yeah, plate gives you disadvantage.
Mostly I put it on to save time. That was in fact the
Also
exclusive
smart.
reason I put it on.
That would have cost you 9 more minutes if you put on plate.
Yep, correct.
Stealth check. All right, you approach from behind this guard, but he's alert enough to hear your footsteps approach as you creak across the wood of the rampart. And he turns around and says, he raises up his torch and said, "Oh, Lord Judge. Hello?
Oh, are you supposed to be watching the road, or
Yes, sir.
this entire area in general?"
The road and the interior of the camp, and he points towards about, he sort of gestures his torch vaguely in the direction of the war camp, which you're on the wall surrounding it.
Is the engineer's tent inside the war camp?
Yes. So this guy would have had to walk past this checkpoint to go out towards that stand of trees.
Oh, can we still see the guy?
Yeah. Just a little
I'll
distant
point it.
black speck.
I'll point all the way at that guy.
Yeah.
How did he get
Guard
in?
looks towards it. Says, he just exited.
Which means he had to have gotten in somehow, right?
Well, I suppose. I mean, he was wearing an engineer uniform. I assumed he's from inside the war camp.
Ah. Very interesting.
He said that
Very
the
interesting.
Primus Pilus told him to go inspect the trees there, see if they'd make good kindling for tomorrow.
Okay. If he comes back, I want you to detain him.
Yes, Lord Judge,
Any-
of course.
Any means necessary. Any force is authorized.
Is he dangerous? He just looked like a normal, paper pusher.
I don't think so, no. I just really want you to detain him.
Of course, Lord Judge.
Alright then.
So,
Alright, and I'll walk off.
Yeah, you climb back down the wooden steps back to Zednius as the two of you guys are waiting beside this wooden gate. And before, you hear the shouts of the guard up there detaining the man or anything else, the first thing you receive, Zednius, is a mental flash. It is a image from Fetagal's perspective. He has since returned within 100 feet of you, and you see this cloaked figure lifting up a rock and putting a piece of paper underneath it, and then exiting the stand of trees. And you basically now see a live view of what Fetagal sees, and the cloaked figure is walking back towards the gatehouse. He's maybe 1 or 2 minutes out.
Maximus, he doesn't have a camp out there. He's left a message. We need to go get it to see who's going to intercept, I believe.
Is he coming back?
He's coming back, yes, so we can let the guard detain him, or I don't know. I want to get to this message or see at least what's going to pick it up.
We'll detain him when he gets back, and then we'll go out and camp out at the message site.
I'm going to tell Hegal to camp out at the message just in case we don't get there in time.
All right, he plops out of your mental range.
Alright.
So you guys just
I'll
ready yourself.
I'll go get the two. Well, is there like a sergeant in charge anywhere around?
There should be an Optio on duty according to Legion regulations, but no, there's not.
Based.
No, there's only the
pretty
3
funny.
men. There's 1 on duty for guard, and then 2 in reserve to open up the gate.
I'll go to the 2 that are in the gatehouse.
Yeah.
Is there an Optio on duty? Or sorry, I don't ask that. I ask, where's the Optio on duty?
One of them. They look towards each other, and one of them says, having a meeting with the Centurion?
I was a Centurion back in my day. There's no Optio on duty, is there?
There is one assigned to this duty
there's-
shift, but he's indisposed.
Is he asleep?
He's recovering from a drunken binge, sir.
What's his name?
Well, the gate's fine, sir. We're
What?
locking it down.
His name.
Lucalis Domitian Minoris.
Lawless. I'm like, I pull out a fucking notebook and like, right? Can we get that in chat so I can get the? All right.
Lucalis Domitian Minoris.
And is there like a unit organization that they belong to at this level?
They probably belong to a cohort, but the Southern Legions are so fucked in terms of manpower and like all this stuff. That
Yeah, I can.
Yeah,
Like his name alone would be enough.
Yeah,
to,
100%.
like, find
Optio
him.
that
Okay.
would be super identifying.
Okay, cool. All right, you two come down here. We're detaining someone at the gate.
They just, no questions. They grab their swords, their spears, and their shields, and they move down the steps with you. And you guys hear basically as you get down there to join with Zednius, the guard on duty comes down the steps and says, "He's about 200 feet outside the gate. He's raising his hand to signal the gate to open."
Can you open it on your own,
I can.
or do you need this?
Yes.
All right, you go and do that.
All right, and he jogs up the steps. They're starting to get excited. This is why you joined the Legion, to do fancy shit. Fight people. And the 2 that are with you are like hyping themselves up. One of them's like, mumbling a prayer to Aurelian soul.
You two stand on either side of the gate. We're gonna stand out of sight.
All right, Lord Judge. And
Just so he doesn't get suspicious and all that.
yeah, so you're bringing like Mickey just to the right of the gate, so they have to enter and then look 90 degrees to their left to see you.
Yeah, I won't be on Mickey. I'll be on foot. But
Okay,
yeah.
Okay. And then Zednius, I assume you're joining with Maximus.
Actually, wait, no, I will be on Mickey in case he runs. In case the
Okay.
guy runs. Good idea.
All right,
Yeah, just
so-
be able to run him down if need be.
The creaking noise of the gate opening fills the little checkpoint. The two men on duty are looking pretty normal. They have their shields mustered and their spear in the ground. The only thing slightly suspicious is the fact that they're so alert at, almost midnight. But other than that, there's nothing really super suspicious about it. You can see the cloaked figure walk inside, and after he has fully cleared the gate, and he's flanked by two guards, one of them sort of puts his spear down, like placing the edge of the spear in front of the cloaked figure's chest, and the legionnaire says, "I'm sorry, we're going to have to detain you under order of the judges." And the cloaked figure looks at him.
That's when I'll clop out.
Yeah, you clop out.
in between him and the gate.
All right. And the cloaked figure sort of looks around. You can see that he's in, sure enough, an engineer's uniform with like a black cloak sort of draped over his shoulders. And he looks around and says, and he pulls down the hood. You recognize that as Porcius, the last man that you spoke with. He says, "I don't know what this is all about."
Porcius Zednius Tiberius?
Yes, I told these guards my purpose out there. I'm scouting new wood for the Primus Pilus.
What crime would this constitute, Alex?
This
Well,
is
you don't-
treason, right?
What exactly do you think he's done?
Well, he's tampered the materials.
Yeah, he's been the one. I think he's
that would
been
be
the one that's
undermining
been
the war
tampering.
effort, which is death penalty.
Yeah, this guy
Is like the crime undermining the war effort?
Yes.
Is that the... Okay. Porcius Zednius Tiberius, I am hereby arresting you for undermining the war effort. We will
What are you
detain you
talking
until
about?
further notice.
Who says? Who would testify to such
we
slander?
saw you.
And one
We
of the
witnessed you.
legionnaires.
Into the hidden tent flap, and we saw you messing with and chiseling down certain items.
One of the
to make them
legionnaires gets a bit
defective.
too excited and, hits Porcius with the butt of his spear and says, "You do not speak to judges that way." And the Porcius sort of doubles
Hey,
over.
I think that's the perfect amount of excitement.
Oh, okay. Well, the perfect amount of excitement. And the legionnaire sort of like goes and grabs Porcius by the scruff of his neck and searches his body. There's nothing suspicious. It's just a couple of coins and engineering log, but it's just like what projects he's been working on. Nothing incriminating. And the legionnaires sort of look up at you, and the one who hit him in the stomach with the back of his spear says, "Where should we bring him? We could bring him to the. I think there's a prison tent. We haven't had to use it on anyone yet, though."
Yeah, bring him there. Yeah, take him there. You two
two
stand on
legionnaires
duty there. Where's
Opio? Is that
yeah, how do you say that? Lucius?
Lucullus.
Lucullus. Where's Lucky Lucullus's tent?
They will indicate a spot along one of the major roadways.
Right then. Zednius, if you want to who tasked us with this again?
What?
Who tasked us with this?
Appius Matani or something Matani. Primus Pilus Matani. Is that
Yeah,
right?
if you want to go tell him that we've
Yeah,
found
let's go. Yeah, I'll
Saboteur,
go speak with him.
I'm gonna
Okay.
go take care of this.
All right.
And what's this
so,
guy's name? Pontius Zednius?
Porcius.
Porcius.
I can. Do you want me to put it in chat?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
All right. So, Zednius, you are going
There
to
you
go inform the Primus Pilus that you've captured the traitor, whereas Maximus, you are taking this traitor to
Oh,
the.
Right, we were gonna go check out the fucking.
We still have time. I mean, Hegal is there. If we miss whatever it is, he'll know what it was, or at least he'll have
That's
seen
cool.
it happen.
Alrighty, cool.
All right. And Maximus, you are going to the tent of the Optio with this prisoner.
No,
Oh, okay.
they're going to the
Oh.
prison tent. I'm going to the Optio's tent.
Okay.
alone.
So you two spread out.
I'm bringing the prisoner to the guy.
Mm-mm.
Is that?
You're just going to tell him that we've got him.
Oh, okay.
All right.
And you're going to the Optio alone, and then the guards are bringing him to prison.
And then staying on guard with him there, yes.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. So the two guards go away, sort of dragging this guy between them. When the guy refuses to walk under his own volition, they sort of wallop him on the head. They're playing pretty rough, but also he did commit the crime of essentially treason. So, they're being pretty kind in that sense.
That's true.
And
Yes.
Maximus, you'll be a bit faster only because you're on Mickey. You can ride towards where this tent was indicated. You can see the Contuberni, which is a group of 7 men. All the tents except for the Optios are empty because those men are on duty, somewhere on guard. But the Optios tent, you can tell, is occupied by the groaning pain of the man sleeping inside.
Yeah. Is there a way to collapse the tent on him?
Yeah, you just remove the central spike, so you just you just rear back your foot and then kick out the central wooden rod supporting it.
Yeah, I do that.
All right, you hear a surprised gasp and a blade pokes through the top of the tent and cuts open a hole, and the head of the drunken Opio pokes out, and he looks hungover as all hell. His eyes are remmed red. There's bloodshotness, and he's sort of swinging his sword wildly until he spots you and looks around and says, "Are we under attack?" He looks around and sees the other tents are totally fine.
You're lucky we aren't.
Who are you? What's happening?
I'll just look down at my judge's badge.
You see his eyes follow you, and he sees it, and he just sort of looks at it for a few long seconds. Hello, Lord Judge, and he sort of tries to stand up, but his legs are still trapped under the collapsed tent, so he starts cutting aside fabric.
Get out of that damn tent.
Cuts the fabric around his legs and manages to get to a rough saluting position, though, because of how drunk he is. It's more like he's lurched 15 degrees to the left.
So, getting drunk while on duty.
It was...
Oh my.
Yes, sir.
If I can remember back from my Centurion days, remind me what the punishment for that was again?
You see him sort of grimace his face. He looks towards the ground. 1 lash for every hour off duty.
1 lash for every hour off duty. It's about midnight, right?
Yes,
Right, Alex?
Lord Judge.
Yeah, it's about midnight. And, when did you get on duty? Or when were you supposed to be on duty?
Sweat starting to accumulate on his forehead.
Remember, I can always just go and ask your, what was it called? Contubernia?
Contubernium, yeah.
Yeah, I can always go ask them.
6 afternoon, Lord Judge.
Since 6 in the afternoon. So, if my math is correct, that would be 6 lashes.
Yes, Lord Judge.
And why did you decide to get drunk instead of going on duty? You know this is a dangerous area.
My worst urges took control of me. The evil spirits of this land, Lord Judge.
The evil spirits of this land. The evil spirits of alcohol took control of you. It is a vile drink. I personally don't think anyone should drink it.
Of course,
But-
Lord Judge.
Good for morale. Nice to have something to do in your off time. But it's not your off time, is it?
No, Lord Judge.
No. No, it is not. Alright, well, we can't have you drunk on duty. So, well, I suppose we'll just have you stand there.
He remains standing above the ruins of his tent.
Sounds good. Stand there, like you were on duty, till the rest of them get off.
Yes, Lord Judge.
We'll see what happens then, shall we?
He just sort of nods his head shallowly.
Alright then. And in case you're wondering how I knew, we actually had something for you all to do tonight. Or at least for your gate guards to do. But looks like you'll have missed out on that.
He just continues to stare forward.
And, 2 of your men are guarding a prisoner in the prisoner tent. In case you're wondering where the men that were operating the gate went.
Of course, Lord Judge.
Well, you have fun. Right then. And
All right.
off I go.
Yeah, you're paying that attention as you ride away. A couple of other people exited their tents to see what all the commotion was about. and they just see this like lone man standing at attention in the ruins of his tent. And you can begin to make your way to the prison, which is where I assume you're headed. Prison being a very loose term to refer to a tent with like a single locked cage. Zenius, you make your way to the officer's tent. The guards will accept you in without any questions, but when you inform the guards that you'd like to wake the Primus Pilus, he'll sort of stop and say, "It's very late at night, and the Primus Pilus has a long day tomorrow. What do you need to wake him for?"
It's an update on the mission he sent us on.
He'll know what that means.
He will. It's an important message.
The Legionnaire nods and heads inside the tent. You hear grumbling, and maybe 5 minutes later, the Primus Pilus exits. Similar to Maximus, he has a breastplate on, the bare minimum defense, a sword at his waist, and he looks bleary-eyed, and he says, "Lord Judge, would you like to come inside?" And he's, standing outside of his tent now.
Yes.
All right. He opens up the tent flap. This is not a very tidy room. His uniform is tossed over his bed, and his armor is loosely sort of bowed into a corner, and he just sort of plops down onto one of the chairs in his room. There is no second chair, and he says, "Well,
we've captured your traitor."
He sort of sits a bit more upright. "You're certain?"
"I saw it with my own eyes. It was Porcius Zednius Tiberius, one of the men on the experimental duty. We've got him in the prison now."
"Well, then we should go. I don't see any reason to waste time. We need to figure out how much damage he's truly done." "Well done, Zednius."
"Of course."
"And the other judges, of course."
Mm-hmm.
He stands up and pulls a sort of thick winter cloak around his shoulders, and the two of you guys can exit his tent and begin the long journey towards the prison. And as you're about halfway there, halfway towards the prison, you get a mental flash from Hegal. You see a twig blight, those tiny little blights that look sort of like kids, walking over towards the rock, lifting it up, grabbing the paper from underneath, and then walking away.
All right.
And
I should have had him see what it was. Oops.
Unfortunate. And eventually, just about 100 feet before you reach the prison site, you feel plip plop along your leg and then up onto your shoulder as Hetegal returns to his proper place. And as you and the Primus Pilus can enter into the tent, Maximus is already there. 2 guards are on duty, and the singular cage within this tent is occupied by a Porcius bleeding a bit from his forehead. The Primus Pilus steps inside and shakes Maximus's hand. "Well done, you two."
Thank you, Primus Pilus. Yep. We witnessed him sabotaging the equipment. I'm sure tomorrow we can go and find evidence.
And he left to the woods and left a note under a stone. A twig blight came and retrieved it. I just got word.
He's been cohorting with the enemy.
I don't think you need a further investigation. If you'd like, you can dot the I's tonight, but, the words of judges are more than enough to get this man convicted, unless he has some crazy ace up his sleeve. So you can conclude your investigation tonight, and once again, Legion thanks you. If we can get even one of these weapons working against the Deadwood, then it could save many men's lives.
Of course.
He gives you a nod and a final sort of shaking your hand gratefully, and you leave the 2 men on duty and the Primus Pilus with their prisoners.
And then I'll turn around. Are punishments taken seriously down here?
The Primus Pilus looks back.
For the troops, if need be.
Of course, the Consul Militum has been a bit more generous than his predecessors because we have such a limited amount of manpower. But with the coming battle, discipline is key.
That's why I was asking. The Optio, who was supposed to be on duty with his men, was found drunk in his tent the last 6 hours.
You see him sort of gravenly nod.
I'll
take care of it.
All right, I think he's going to be standing at attention for probably the rest of the night till his men get back, or that's where I left him at least. So I'll leave the rest up to you.
His name?
Portius. Oh nope, that's the other guy.
Lucius Dominitan Minoris.
It's not Lucius.
Domitian Minoris.
That was Lucullus Domitian Minoris.
He gives a nod and gives you a grateful nod and heads back inside the tent.
All right then.
So, would you guys like to investigate Porcius's tent, or are you considering this, this mission completed.
We'll just find.
Good just to toss his tent.
Okay.
Sure. I think we're satisfied with the evidence, though. But in case
just
he
your
has any
word
more
is enough to
clues.
get him convicted. This is just
Yeah.
like if you guys are curious, but you don't have to look.
Any intelligence that it may have or something like that. Hints
Okay.
to how much he actually sabotaged.
True. That'd be useful. Or how long he's been doing it for. He's been in the Legion minimum at least 8 years based off his rank, so.
Indeed, yes.
Yeah,
Good
the
to
two
go
of
do
you
that.
guys can make your way to the trader's tent. It was one of the locations that you had actually thought about visiting before, so you already know where it is.
That's where he was, wasn't it?
Yes.
When we talked to him
that's
the
where
first
you met
time.
him.
Okay.
Yeah. And you can open up his tent flap. The rest of his colleagues are asleep, or the rest of his contubernium are asleep. Inside, it's pretty Spartan. There's a bed, a footlocker, and a small wardrobe.
Yeah. I'm gonna physically tear this place apart.
Okay, Zednius, what is your contribution as Maximus begins to, rip out drawers and dig up dirt and flip over the
I'll
bed?
grab the. You said there was like a small storage thing.
There's a bed, a footlocker, and a small wardrobe.
Well, I don't know. I'm not good at like thieves' tools, so
I'll just kind of plunk
I'll
the
just-
wardrobe next to him. Look for hidden compartments.
That's what I'll do.
All right.
All
So,
right.
Maximus, you toss the bed, you rip at the mattress with your dagger. Like, you guys see, for a moment, the tent flap opens as probably some other legionnaire. You guys woke up, glances inside, but he sees the judge badge in your chest and just walks away, and you hear, like, muffled talking outside, and then it's quiet again. And you tear this bed apart. There's nothing in it. You tear the footlocker apart. You find 2 copies of his uniform, a spear, 2 javelins, a shield, chainmail, a helmet, standard kit. Zednius, you find in the wardrobe there's a shaving kit, a mess kit, a wooden cup, a small mirror. However, he said to look for a hidden compartment, so roll me an investigation check, Zednius.
Well,
All right. You feel along the length of it. Now, I'm going to be honest. If you were just like, hey, I'm going to investigate this thing, I would probably not give this to you. But since you're explicitly looking for hidden compartments, as you're feeling along the back of the wardrobe and you're moving it, you hear a rattle. And that enough is to clue you off that there's definitely hidden space in here. And you look. You search, and then finally, as you're pretty close to giving up, near the bottom back of the wardrobe, you find that when you push in the sort of wood paneling there a little bit, it pops outward, and you can just pull it out like a drawer. And inside, you find a singular object. There's a small wicker doll. It seems to be breathing, with its small chest rising and falling. And there is a rose with blood dripping from its thorns wrapped around the small breathing wicker doll.
And what is the wicker doll and the rose are both magic? If I turn on my eyes.
Yes. Well, they're the same object. Like,
Oh,
because
they're I didn't know if it was 2
Yeah, the
objects
rose is wrapped
together.
around the body of the wicker doll. So
His,
yes, they're
his
both
eyes,
magical.
turning on. Is that visible?
Yes.
Yes.
His eyes start to
Yeah,
glow as
I'll-
he looks into the drawer at the back of the wardrobe.
I'll turn around at
I'll
that
pull
point.
out the item.
Found something?
Yes, and I'll pull out the beating heart wicker thing.
No, it's a wicker doll, like of a person,
Good.
and then its chest is rising and falling as it breathes.
I don't know what this is.
Gonna be honest, neither do I.
You see the
perhaps
little
Let's
like
take it to the Arcanist.
you see
Yeah,
the
it's
little
just-
mouth of the wicker doll, like it's been made of like straw that's been sort of formed, begin to open, like it's like speaking, like there's no noise coming out, but the lips are moving as if it's saying something, and then the head like recoils backwards, like some force impacted it.
I don't understand.
That's fine.
Are they? Yeah, I think we need to take this to the wizard.
Probably a good idea. Wouldn't want to hurt ourselves with it.
And then there's the blood, which drips from the the thorns of the rose, and that is just dropping onto the ground. Like wherever you hold it, it's just dripping from the wicker doll onto the floor beneath.
Should we go give this to him?
It
Yeah.
is like 1 a.m. I mean, if you want to wake him up, that's fine. But
I mean, we've already woken up like half. the
yeah,
camp.
true. He's like a 7-year-old man, though. I'm just saying. If you don't care, you don't care. It is what it is.
He's still mucking around like a war cat. TBI.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. All right, so you guys grab this doll, this strange thing, and exit. Are you satisfied with the tent? Do you think there's anything else hidden?
If I turn on my eyes again, do I see anything that might pop out?
Magical. No, nothing else magical. Actually,
Okay.
wait. Can you put detect magic in the chat?
Yeah,
Something.
there is something.
Well, there is something. I just don't think you'll be able to
Now
see.
I use my meta knowledge to ransack the
yes,
entire
I
tent.
cast meta knowledge.
The
Basically,
most powerful of
Like,
every
so,
D&D
I know
player's
there's certain
arsenal.
things you
True.
can't see through with detect magic, and I'm trying to remember what they are. 1 inch of common, 3 feet. Jesus Christ, I thought it was like 3 inches.
3
Yeah, you
foot
can
of
see
wood.
there is a magical object about 10 inches beneath the ground, like directly underneath you.
Wait, Maximus, there's something down here.
Where?
Inspecting it a bit closer, it is skull shaped.
What the? It's a skull,
Is it
but
magical?
it's magic. Yes, right here, and I point down about half a foot. I don't have a shovel.
Yeah. Hold on. I'll run outside of the tent. Is there a soldier, like soldier's tent, anywhere near here?
Yeah, there's like 6 other soldiers' tents right in this area. Most of them had gone outside and then gone back in when they saw judges.
Yeah, I'll just go and like whoosh open the flap of the nearest tent.
Yeah, the guy is
Sorry, before
fully
I do
awake.
that, is like a fucking like a trowel or a shovel part of the standard kit?
Yeah.
Oh, then he would
Okay.
have had one that we went.
Oh yeah, he'll just have one in there, won't he?
No, he's an engineer. He doesn't have to dig fucking punches.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'll whip open the fucking
Yeah,
The
the guy
tent
is
flap
there, like,
of the
on
nearest-
his bed. He already has his, like, covers pulled up just above his nose, and he just looks at you in surprise. Like, surprise, he knows you were there, so he just looks at you in, like, fear. As
Hey,
you open up
where's
his
your
tent.
shovel?
He moves one arm from behind his cover and points right next to the tent entrance, where you can look down to your left and see a trowel there.
I'm gonna borrow this. And I'll grab it and just fucking walk
He just
out.
silently stares at you as you exit his tent. Yeah, and you only have to dig down about 6 inches, so it's
Yeah,
not gonna take that
furious digging.
long. And especially with Xenius pointing out exactly where the object is, you can avoid hitting it. But after about, probably 10 minutes, you can see the very top of this white bone skull. It is like an actual skull, not like an object shaped like one. That is a human skull about 6 inches below you. You see the top of it. I don't know if you want to like start pulling it out of the earth.
That's just a skull.
Do I know sort of what kind of magic it is?
Detect
I
magic.
know the
is
school
literally
as well as the
Legionnaire.
school of magic. Well, I'm gonna give you one guess. The school of magic. Just
Well,
what
it's
do you
either
think?
necromancy or divination. I'm
Well,
not
there you
sure.
go. It's necromancy. Yay!
Okay.
We did it. Yeah, it's a
Wow.
necromantic.
Who could have
it's a-
seen the? Who could have seen the fact that the skull was necromantic?
I thought it could be divination. I wasn't sure.
That is a good point. That would have been my guess
That
as
is
well.
true. No, yeah,
Those
it's
two.
it's a necromantic skull.
Okay.
And you can only see the top of it so far, Maximus, like the dome, the dented dome.
Okay, I'm gonna dig it out and then lift it up with the shovel.
Sure. So as your shovel moves in front of basically where the eyes would be, you hear like some of the dirt of your pile begins to move downward, and you hear this like motion, and it takes you a second to be like, what the fuck is happening? Like the dirt's collapsing. And then you recognize this noise, the sound of bone hitting bone. Do you remember back when you were in Batavia, there was these skulls sitting on like different, like some of them were sitting on
That
rocks,
clacked.
ones on rocks, and they started clacking together. You hear
Yeah,
a
they
muffled
started
version
clacking.
of that. Yeah, you hear a muffled version of that as the skull begins to slam its teeth together as hard as possible. But the dirt is like muffling the noise.
Oh
I
my.
think that means we need to destroy it because we know what it is now.
I'd still rather take it to the Arcanist.
It's muffled enough that only the two of you can hear it, but you know that if it's removed from the dirt, it's going to make a fucking deafening noise.
Oh,
It's really
maybe
loud.
we shouldn't do that. Does it stop after a little bit?
How
like-
long are you going to wait for it
like-
to stop?
Like a couple minutes.
You sit there, and it continues endlessly. In fact, the little dirt hole that you dug has basically collapsed as this these jaws continue to open up and close and open up and close, and the dirt has just fallen down.
Yeah, I don't think this is gonna stop
Well,
anytime
Hehagal is
soon.
with me. Can Hehagal eat it? Do you want to eat this, Hehagal?
He will just like go from one shoulder and just go up to your head when you talk about him eating it. He'll move further away from the object.
Okay, he doesn't want it. I think we just have to destroy it, but I'm not. If you want to see, this thing's going to be clacking for a long, long time.
How the hell do we destroy it?
hit it with the shovel.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
You're the magic
you,
user.
Yeah, you slam the
Bonk.
shovel into the top of the skull. It chips a little bit. You slam it down again. It cracks, and once basically you destroy a round. Basically, when you break the structural integrity of the skull by about 50%, so you've destroyed the entire upper top of the skull, the sound and movement stops, and the pit goes quiet.
All right then.
Is the magic still there, or is it dissipated?
No, it's dissipated.
Okay.
All right.
All right, so now bring the weird voodoo doll to the wizard.
Yep, the
Sounds
buddy
good.
cops, Maximus and Zednius. Yeah, the two of you guys make your way to the wizard's tent. It's very late at night. There's only one guard on duty, and he will stand up as you guys approach. You can explain to him the importantness, how important it is for you to meet with the Archmagus or the Arcanist, and the guard will shake his head and say,
I can leave that object on his table, but I'm not going to wake him up in the middle of the night.
Can we wake him up in the middle of the night?
I can't stop you if you'd like to, but the man needs his sleep. He's been working incredible hours for the Legion, making scrolls and preparing for the battle.
Are there any...
Oh,
Is he the only wizard here? He's got trainees, right?
he has 3 or 4 apprentices, but they're like pathetic in comparison.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure they'll at least like know how they're supposed to handle a magical item.
The
Yeah.
legionnaire on duty says,
I've been placed as the protector of the Arcanist. I think I can just place it on his desk and he can deal with it when he awakes.
All right. I suppose that'll do. Just can you summon us when or come get us so we can at least explain to him where we got it?
You can just tell me and I can tell him in the morning.
All right.
and you can, if you'd like to, you can relay the full story of the traitor and all that stuff.
Sure.
All right.
Yeah, just like a
You relay
deadwood
it to this legionnaire. He
traitor guy.
listens, sort of nodding along, occasionally asking clarifying questions, and then once he's satisfied, he brings the doll inside of the tent, uses his gloves so that he's never actually like touching any of it with his bare flesh. And he comes, and you guys can go about your business. It is like 1 a.m. You guys, if you want to do anything tomorrow without having a level of exhaustion, you're gonna need to get to sleep sooner rather than later.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do that sooner.
All right.
Yeah, I'm down with going to sleep.
You guys head back to the campsite. Severus has been asleep for hours. At this point, he's almost fully rested. You know, even Lars is pretty rested now. His is a little bit less so, but at around 1 a.m., 1:30, you guys return to the campsite. You know, you let Mickey rest, and you guys collapse into your tents. A long day of work. And with that, you guys can get all the bonuses of a short rest. Can be passed on to November 13th. So, you guys all wake. Differing hours. Severus definitely wakes up the earliest, probably at the crack of dawn at like 5 a.m. Lars, you follow shortly
That sounds
afterward.
about right.
And since you guys want to get an early start, I think all of you guys are awoken / wake up by around 7 in the morning. And we have a full day ahead of us. So what would we like to do?
Go to the Arcanist.
So that's what...
Yeah, I'll update the rest of the group first on what we got done last night.
That would be good.
Okay. Well, yeah, you can tell Severus, Lars, and Renesmee about how you found this aperture, and you gave this magic artifact to the Arcanist and all this stuff. And Zednius, as you get all excited to go meet with the Arcanist, you would know that he doesn't wake up until like 10 a.m. Maybe 11.
Oh,
Yeah, he's an old man. He sleeps in.
I thought old people woke up at like 4 a.m.
Some old people do, but not if they're staying up late and doing work.
Which most of them don't, is the thing.
And not if they have one foot in the grave.
Well, alright, I don't know about you. My grandma is like 81 and she does not have one foot in the grave.
Sure,
I
she's
assure
both
you.
feet.
She
Yeah,
so
What time does she wake up?
like 4 in the morning?
Exactly. So what I'm saying is, when they have one foot in the grave, they don't wake up at 4 in the morning.
Genius.
They wake
Oh,
up like,
that's a good point.
So you guys have many tasks before you. What are we doing? We got a full day now. Nothing, no meeting schedule, no things we have to do.
Alright.
Long
So
list.
we decided on 2 things, right? We were gonna do the Deadwood and
Well,
were we gonna
doing the Deadwood or the scouting. Those are our two. We have to do one of those two to find out where this guy actually is, the necromancer.
Pretty sure we decided on the Deadwood.
I also agree
Right.
with that.
Okay. So that means we
And the
don't
only
have
other
to
thing
do
is-
we don't have to do the scouting.
Yeah. The only other thing then is hunting down the dead blood hunter, which I don't know how long that's going to take. But
Which
neither-
means
we
we
don't know
should-
how long
we
the
should-
Deadwood's going to take either. So
I think the Deadwood's more important, right?
I think so.
It was like
how much we care about going out against the zombie blood hunter.
Well, we need to find the necromancer, don't we?
Yes.
And so if we don't do the scouting mission, then we won't have any way of knowing where the fuck he is.
Yep.
Well, that's what the Deadwood is for. Because you're
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then
We also don't know if the clairvoyance will reach depending on where this guy goes, though.
True.
Because it was a 1 mile radius, was that right?
Yep.
It wasn't the purpose just to find him like on the actual battlefield.
Nope.
Oh.
To find where his headquarters
I'm pretty sure
is,
it's
'cause
to
there's no
send our
reason for him
party is to
make
try to
an
deal with
actual-
it ahead of time.
Yeah. Well, yeah, when the battle starts, you guys are supposed to sneak around the two engaged forces and go kill the necromancer, because necromancers don't actually need to be on the field to lead their armies. They can be at a nearby hilltop or in a fort or something like that, just using their
But taking him out
mental
makes his
commands.
raised minions severely stupider and easier to deal with. Plus, he can't raise more.
Yeah, which, depending on his power level, he wouldn't be able to do that anyway, so...
Oh, okay.
It depends. Their assumption is that he will not be with the main army, like, in the heart of it, which is why they're
Yeah.
planning for you guys to kill him. So, Deadwood?
Yeah. Okay.
I'd say the Deadwood.
Then we should review the facts that we have about this mission. I'll leave
Not
that up to you
much.
guys.
Walk into forest, pick up a thing, leave. That's our job. Guy
Yep.
who was dropped the thing in there was there 4 years ago, so we just have to hope that it's there.
Should be close, Copium.
Yep. So, 4 years
75
ago,
years
a
later.
guy
Let's
walked
go.
into the wizard with an intent to do some research, walked like out of a watchtower into the woods, and he just never returned. So your plan is to enter into the woods, the same position that he did, and find the material, find his corpse, and then his material components and magical items.
What if
I
we
don't suppose
travel,
either of you
like, in time?
spellcasters have something like locate object.
No.
No,
Nads.
that's a little above my skill grade. It's the second level skill.
Well, I can
I
hope.
don't have that prepared now. I don't even know if I have that available to me.
Oh well,
Druids might get it.
not much to be done.
Well, then if you'd like to head out, it's going to be about an hour ride to get to the watchtower that you guys need to head into the woods from. Are there any precautions
then.
that we'd like to do before heading into Deadwood? Any equipment we want to acquire? The medical facilities opened up a little bit more now that they got a new delivery of medical supplies if anyone needs health or anything like that.
I just want to kind of continuously cast detect magic if possible while I'm in there. I want to be like very focused and doing my
It's a ritual
chanting
cast,
to
which means
myself.
you need to stand still.
Gonna
So
take 10 minutes
unfortunately, I don't
each
think-
time.
Yeah.
And then each time it's up, it lasts for a short amount of time.
Yeah, so for 10
Yeah.
minutes, every 10 minutes.
I got us.
Yeah.
I can just
No,
do that.
no, sorry, I didn't. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all right. So
I thought
you
you
guys
can
get
do
on
rituals while
horseback.
moving, like on horseback.
On horseback, yes, but you guys going in on horses into the woods themselves? Normally, you guys
No.
go on foot.
I don't
Oh,
think
how
so.
dense are
No.
these woods?
Oh
It kind of
goodness.
depends. We'll talk about it once you guys get there. So you guys get on
It's
horseback.
not a normal forest.
And you guys begin to ride towards this watchtower. Now, the report that the Arcanist gave you is from about a year ago, and a lot of things have changed since then. In the about 8 miles of riding, you see 3 abandoned villages, though abandoned isn't quite the right word. They have been scoured of life, other than livestock. You've seen many, many villages like this. And the watchtower that was once presumably a legionary fortification is now annihilated. There is the central sort of level. So if it's a 3-story tower, the second floor has been destroyed. It looks like some huge object or like force just pushed it over. And so the second and third floors lay crumbled to the earth. The first floor of the tower is just like been scattered across the ground. It almost looks like someone with a giant fist just punched the top part of the tower and then slammed their fist downward onto the first floor, just annihilating it. So there's scattered bricks all across the earth as you guys get closer. There's no sign of this being inhabited for months. There's no signs of major movement in this area at all, but there is the Deadwood. It's about 1/8 of a mile away, and Severus, you get a sort of newer feeling, one that you haven't felt much before. You feel like you're being watched from the woods.
Everyone else is used to this.
Yes. Yeah, as you look
Wow.
towards the deadwood in the distance, you have a distinct feeling that something is looking out of the deadwood towards you.
I'll just like nervously scratch my left, rub my left wrist.
All right. You guys get closer now, and you guys can dismount your horses. Do you want to leave them in the ruins of the watchtower or closer to the wood's edge?
Either way, Gorse.
How close was the? I feel like we can just leave him in the camp, right? It's not that far, is it?
Well, so you guys have just traveled 8 miles on horseback to this watchtower.
Oh.
Yeah, and this watchtower is about an eighth of the mile away from the woods, which is nothing. That's like a quick walk. So
I'd say the watchtower.
The watchtower,
all
yeah.
right. You guys can
Watchtower, and I'll leave Gore on guard with them.
Okay. Zednius, do you want to leave?
Is this
as well, or-
watchtower abandoned?
It's a utterly ruined watchtower. Yeah, it's totally destroyed.
I feel like I would want to bring Hagal with us.
Okay, then Gore and the
Probably.
horses stay at the tower, and you guys begin to get closer to the woods. The woods here don't look as primeval or terrifying as those near places like Batavia. They start off semi-normal, sort of dense undergrowth. None of the deadwood trees themselves, just normal coniferous and deciduous rising from the ground. The only reason you can really distinguish it as a part of the greater deadwood is this feeling. The rest of you, as we discussed before, are used to this feeling of being watched, this intelligence that hangs over the woods. But for you, Severus, this is deeply unnerving. As you get closer to the trees, walking on foot now, you constantly feel the need to look over your shoulder, and you feel like something is always about to reach out towards you. It's not like you feel anything like a gust of wind or anything, just this feeling that something is behind you, or if you turn around, then something is in front of you. It's always watching and always presiding over you.
I'm probably super on edge.
Yeah.
Have my cloak deep in my face, trying to walk heavily and slowly as much as I can, and constantly have my bow with an arrow nocked and ready to fire.
All right. What is our marching order as we head into the woods?
I can be
Maximus.
relatively towards the back if you'd like.
Yeah, I'll go in the front.
Renesmee.
I'll be second.
All right, so we have Maximus, Lars. We can just do actually what we used to do, where we do Zednius, then Severus, then Renesmee at the far back. All right, there we go. So we have Maximus, Lars, Zednius, Severus, Renesmee. That sounds good.
Sounds good.
Tanks at the front, tanks at the back. So you guys
And
begin to
if I
move
think-
inward.
I think if we see Zednius, Severus, notching his bow like that, I'm gonna warn him, trust me, you're not always gonna want to shoot the first thing you see in here. Be careful.
So
Does that mean?
That means you want to piss off the wrong thing, and
What is this? What is this fucking place? I mean, I've heard of it, but gee, why don't we just
Hell.
burn this fucking place down?
Hell on earth is what it is. Oh, they tried. They tried.
everything that we're about to see and run into is stuff that will come out if you try to fight the force back.
Oh, yes.
So as you guys
Has
are headed
Severus fought any blights yet? He's not fought any.
no, Severus has only done an old friend mission with you guys. So he's
I fought the
No,
blights.
on the way to the
random
current
encounter.
camp.
Yeah,
By
you
the
fought,
way.
I forgot about that. Yeah, you fought one ambush of blights. That's true.
Yeah,
There's a
Funigal
pretty weak
blights, the
point considering some
Dryad.
other stuff we
True,
fought
true,
against, though.
I didn't take any damage.
Yeah, true. So yeah, you guys begin to head into the woods. Now, Maximus, in the past, all attempts to, I'm only mentioning this because you're at the lead of the party. So in the past, all attempts to navigate these woods have essentially been useless, and you just feel like a person in a river, and the river tide will take you wherever you're going. But you're looking for a specific thing. You're looking for this party that passed through here 4 years ago. So how are you navigating the woods? Are you looking for signs of maybe a trail they left, or are you looking for maybe an abandoned campsite? I mean, it was a whole 4 years ago, so there's not going to be a lot of relics of this passage.
Well, that's what you think. We don't have time preserved here.
We don't know.
Well-
We don't have anything of theirs, do we?
No. If we did, I would have brought
It's,
more.
I imagine people make very, very obvious signs going through the woods.
Would I be able to try and sniff them out by smelling for any other human sense if I was a direwolf?
If it
Can,
happened
but that
4
might
years
give very
ago, that
mixed
would
results.
probably-
Yeah, but
Or-
I'm thinking that it's like a time skip kind of situation. Maybe I'm real off, but
It can be, but it also could be humanoid creatures that we run into that could kill us. So
That's
you
true.
never know.
So you're just basically walking into the woods and hoping that you'll Maximus is your strategy, just to walk into the woods and hope you'll stumble across signs of this previous expedition.
No, that's a terrible idea.
Okay.
We'll look along the edge, or maybe where they entered.
Yeah, you move along the edge of the woods. That distinct feeling of being watched is, even for those of you that are used to the woods, it is overpowering this close to the woods. You can't help but feel a little bit paranoid. And the edge of the woods all looks the exact same. You know, it's newer growth forest. There is none of the great rotting husks of the dead wood trees. It seems pretty hospitable. If it weren't for this feeling, you'd just think this is another section of woods. And there's no sign of passage or anything like that.
All right. Let's see. How else would we find them?
Also, it doesn't have to be just Maximus. Just I mention it because he's the one that's the leader of the group, or not the leader, but like at the front of the column, so he's sort of directing where you guys walk. But if any of you others have ideas on how to,
Well, sounds like our only real option is once we get inside to look for signs of humans. That's pretty much it. I don't think there's really anything else to go off of.
I could turn into a wolf and try and smell out humans.
Do we know what the purpose of the grouping here was?
Yes, you do. He was going into the woods to do research on an ancient elven ruin that was reported to be literally like half a mile into the woods, like not far at all.
All right. Do we
I'm
know
assuming
where
that
it
they're
was
probably-
reported to be?
I mean, yes, you do know where the ancient elven ruin is reported to be, but the wood has contracted and expanded like dozens of miles in the 4 years since this expedition was done, so it's going to be a lot harder to say.
Okay, I guess we just go in the vague direction then.
And you do have
see
that.
if we
You do
can see
have the
anything
exact
elven.
direction he entered. He walked from the outpost at a specific westward heading, and then he's plunged into the woods with his expedition.
Yeah, we'll
So
just
if we
follow
see
that and
anything
then go from there.
elven-like, like ancient elven-like, that might
Okay,
be
so
helped.
we're just gonna match their trajectory, plunge into the woods in westward direction, looking for elven or human signs.
All right.
Pretty much.
I'll
Okay.
have detect magic up and look for things that aren't.
Oh,
Because it's. I assume the
you turned
whole.
on detect magic.
I
Yeah.
assume that.
So as you
the
turn on
whole
detect
forest.
Literally everything you won't be able to see. Yeah.
yeah, as your detect magic begins, as essentially what Heko said, you get flashbanged. The entire woods are so filled with magic that upon looking at them, for a moment you just are utterly blind until you drop the detect magic, and there's still spots of just bright green glowing light.
Okay.
So
Yeah, don't do that. Bad idea.
So, Maximus, you lead the column, and you guys plunge into the woods in westward direction. For about 5 minutes, you continue inward. You can glance behind you and see the ruined watchtower still there, and you continue and continue. And Renesmee, you're at the back of the column, so you glance back, and you notice you've only been walking for 5-10 minutes, and you've lost sight of the watchtower, which makes no sense. That thing is like, you should be able to see it. You haven't really walked that far into the woods, but
Yeah.
it's just not there anymore. And Maximus,
Am I surprised by this?
I think it's up to you.
Just as someone who's spent time in the dead wood.
Oh, as someone who spent time in the dead, I mean, this thing like folds and contorts and changes time. You could have just been walking for 3 hours and it only felt like 10 minutes, or maybe, you've been teleported to a distant spot altogether. The woods have intelligence and they don't like you, so they could be doing all sorts of shit.
Got it. So I think that I will be perturbed. I'll be like, fucking hell, here we go again. But I won't be surprised.
Okay.
Just perturbed.
And Maximus, at the front of the column, you find footprints. It seems as if a group of about 8 or 9 has passed along this pathway that you are moving on. And these look fresh. These look like maybe an hour ago.
Oh. Well, I suppose it could have been an hour ago.
And
What?
you're just-
Sure, let's follow them. They look like human footprints, right?
Yeah, certainly. They look like boots, and you can even see one that looks like a donkey or something that was weighed down heavily with supplies based off how deep the indentations are.
All right.
And you guys, as you guys are following Maximus, you notice too, this trail you guys are walking on, which was once just like a normal section of wood, is now looks like almost a deer trail with these deep footprints of boots and this donkey hooves. And You guys, after maybe 5-10 minutes of walking, you turn around a bend and you see a campsite. There's a fire in the center of it that's still smoldering, as if it's been put out, in the last 20 minutes. There is tents still here, like set up as if they were just going for a brief walk and intended to return. There's warmed up rations sitting beside the campfire that have been cooked and have been like 3/4 of the way consumed. There's 8 tents in total, and a donkey is sitting next to the fire. The donkey is a desiccated carcass. Looks like it starved to death.
Talk to it.
The
Yeah, you can
desiccated
talk to it.
carcass?
Talk to it.
Well, at first you said there was a donkey sitting by the
Oh.
fire.
Yeah,
and
there
I was
was.
like, oh, and you were like, it's a desecrated carcass.
She did say was, to be fair.
True. Yeah. So there is a starved to death donkey, which is strange because there are rations like littered around the campsite all around the donkey that it could easily consume.
Oh. I think that was a donkey at some point.
Sorry, that's not funny.
Yes, I would concur, Renesmee.
Astute observation.
Thank you.
Although how it starved to death is beyond me.
Probably wasn't very smart.
It was a donkey. It's distinctly possible.
Can I go up to it and just I guess investigate for signs that it didn't starve, but someone ate it?
Sure, you can roll
somehow?
an investigation check. While Renesmee's doing that, the rest of you guys can get a look around the campsite. It looks pretty standard. There's 8 separate tents. Each of them have little personal effects and items stored there. One of them has a full set of plate armor resting inside the tent. Another one has a journal that's flipped open with a little bit of writing in it, but it just sort of someone stopped halfway through writing. Everything here indicates that they were in the process of, fully locking down their camp, eating dinner or something, and then something distracted them and they all just walked away.
And the plate armor, is there rust on it?
No, it looks brand new. Like it was hammered out yesterday.
Is it nicer than mine?
Nicer?
Yoink!
Actually, wait a minute. It would be designed for... Yes, it would be nicer than yours. Because yours is you got yours commissioned when you first became a Centurion. It's all beat up and ruined from years of use. So yeah, this is a nicer, more modern suit of armor than yours.
This is more modern?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, Maximus's was built a decade ago. Renesmee, you investigate this donkey's body. There's no signs of it having been eaten in any way, no one carved off strips of flesh. And you can see its ribs. It clearly was incredibly malnourished and underweight. And as best as you can tell, it just starved to death.
Speaking, I was literally about to ask. Thank you.
Once you guys finish investigating the camp.
Okay.
Well, I nabbed the plate armor.
All right,
Yeah,
you
that
begin
was-
to pick up the various pieces of the plate armor, and as your hand reaches out and touches the breastplate, you watch as it goes through what you would have to guess to be a century of aging the moment your finger makes contact with it. The entire thing, you watch as it goes from beautiful silver to rusting to pure red to gone, disintegrated in the span of maybe 2 seconds.
DM says no.
Damn it!
Oh my god.
God.
Do any of us notice that? Before
I think all of you would notice it. Yeah, there's a
Yeah,
very
we would
loud
notice
noise as this breastplate falls from his hands and just
Oh, there's
disintegrating.
also a
into...
pearl of power
Such a-
that's about to disintegrate.
Such
I will cry.
Damn. That'd be rough.
I'm going to pick up a stick. And is there anything else that is that looks new in the campsite?
Yeah, there's a journal. There's what looks to be.
What about the journal?
What about it?
There's food. There's
Let's
fresh
flip
food
through a few of the
somewhere,
There's
right?
fresh food as well. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to. Sorry.
Yeah, so to answer the journal's currently open. There's an entry on the left-hand side that's 3/4 of the way written. The right page is blank. And to answer
Yeah,
food,
can I-
yes, there's 6 or 7 brand fresh rations around the campfire.
Can I go by the campfire and with my stick poke one of the rations?
Poke the ration.
Nothing happens.
The bread has a bit of give, and then it fills back into its normal shape.
I crouch
Can I-
down next to it and then I poke it with my finger.
It goes for a moment, for half a second. You get this smell of horrific rot, and then there's nothing. The space in front of you where there was once a piece of bread with some meat on it, there is now nothing.
Oh God,
look
is
at-
there
look at this-
meat anywhere?
No.
Oh,
There's a
nice.
half a
but,
second of
Can we
horrific rot
touch
smell and
the-
then nothing.
So it
No,
tastes
I'm
like-
saying, is there any other meat anywhere?
other meat. What do you mean by that? Like,
There's
there's other
meat.
rations. Yes, yeah. There's other rations. Yeah.
Yeah. I go poke the meat and laugh at the funny smell.
Yeah. There's like a half a
Wait.
second of just horrific rot.
Guys, we shouldn't.
Funny about that. Why you
Pretty
laugh
funny.
What
at
you're
that?
saying, Hargon, is that the bread and the meat is
So-
is disappearing into nothing.
Sorry,
It's-
Ethan is just a monkey. Sorry, yeah. So for you look at it, you touch it, your smell register like visually, it just like it basically curls in on itself and disappears. However, the smell wise, for about half a second, you smell rot, and then there is nothing.
Yeah. Guys, I think that there is some kind of magical spell, or I don't know what's going on here, but if we want to take clues, we must investigate with not our hands. It seems that this place is artificially inflated with life somehow, and when we touch it with our hands, it dies. Poke a sandwich and see what I mean.
It could also just be an illusion.
And dive the donkey and see what happens.
And I'll like snap to whoever's closest to the journal. I think that was
Severus.
That was Severus. I'm like, Severus, do not touch that journal.
I was like about to like pick it up and browse it. Okay. Can I use my mage hand to touch
I
it?
wouldn't even be that care. I would use a stick. I touched the bread with a stick, and it was fine. So don't do anything dumb. Just pick a really nice stick if you want to investigate stuff, okay?
I'll just use my dagger.
Okay, you use your dagger and you're trying to like go to the front of the book. It's already open on an entry, or do you want to go to the first entry?
Read the entry.
I just want to go backwards. On
Okay, so you start in the current entry. It says Lurple. I think that's the best way to describe the new color I saw. I struggled to attribute any other word to it. It wasn't blue. It wasn't purple. It wasn't red or orange or green. It wasn't the mix of any of them. It was, well, Lurple, I suppose. And that's the end of the entry.
Okay. Schizo posting. Next one. Previous, I guess.
To the next page, you see a sketch of a very, very old man. And it says, well, I suppose aging isn't quite regular here either, but we should reach the Elven Ruins sooner rather than later. I mean, well, we can only age so much, right?
Previous page.
You flip to the next page, and this seems to have been before they entered the Deadwood. It is the personal thoughts of a man who goes by Arcanist Lucullus, and it basically talks about his many, many theories about the Deadwood's interaction with the ancient elven magics that have suffused this area. But it becomes a very, like, noodly and complicated arcane testimony as to what he thinks the origin of the magic in the Deadwood is. And that's the rest of the book.
What is his theory?
His theory is that the ancient elven empire, it never actually got disappeared. They instead chose to basically commit mass suicide and put all their magic into the remaining elven woods, and that's why they're so ridiculously powerful and being purged by humans.
Mm.
An interesting theory.
And just before we take a brief break, I want to talk about the donkey. So I mentioned desiccated. I don't know if you guys have ever seen those Himalayan mummies, where they're not actually, like, mummified. They have just been done that through cold air and dry air. That is basically what the donkey looks like. It looks like it starved to death or ran out of water, and then somehow it was essentially entombed within its own flesh, making this sort of mummified effect. It has no pack on its back, and it looks as if, you know, in a state like that, something like a body could be preserved for centuries or millennia. And as you guys begin to flip over sort of the last couple things, you can touch the remaining rations if you want a little, like, it's basically like a fart of just horrible air and then it fades away. Or there's a couple of other objects.
So
in the
funny.
camp. But we're going to take a 5-minute break and then we'll return with our investigation
Wait,
of this
just a
campsite
small
out of
thing.
time. Yeah, what's up?
Can I take off one of my gloves and just look if I'm
Monkey.
aging?
You take off one of your gloves and do what?
Look
Check
if he's
if I'm, like-
aging.
If
Oh,
I'm like crazy aging.
Yeah, you look at your hand, no liver spots. You still have the young, pliable flesh of a, like, young 20-year-old. You're fine.
I'm not. I'm not
Wait,
even 20 yet.
How old is
Oh, I
everyone?
de-aged
No, you did not get de-aged.
because I'm like 30.
Okay, then yeah, it's the tough sort of, you know, flesh of a 30-year-old. You know, you pull it up and it drops back down, but it takes a few seconds.
Okay.
So, as you guys we'll finish investigating this campsite on the other side of the break. All right, well, we are back at it. So, You guys were investigating the campsite. There was this tome with its strange theories, this desiccated donkey, and there's other items, personal effects. There's swords and spears and arrows and bolts and supplies, including other tents and crowbars and munitions and everything one would want on an expedition to a mysterious woad. Is there anything else you'd like to investigate? There is no obvious tracks that lead from this camp away.
Any valuables in the camp?
Valuables? Oh, most certainly. There's coin purses. There is what looks to be almost like a lockbox for payment, like what you'd get paid in if you were in the Legion, on the back of the donkey with a lock
I'm
on
gonna
it.
touch all of it with my hand.
Okay. You
I'll
reach
pick
out,
it
you
up.
touch the lock, you watch as it goes through ages of rusting and then finally disintegrates into dust. You touch the wooden exterior of the box, and for a moment, just for like maybe a full second this time, you smell mold and rot, and you feel something fuzzy on your hand, and then there's nothing. And freely, about 10 bags of coins drop to the ground underneath you.
I'm gonna touch those.
The leather recedes, and for a quarter of
Yeah,
a second, you smell
and the
rot.
coins inside are gonna rust and wither. Cool. All right.
Well, you haven't touched the coins yet. There's golden coins.
Yeah, I'm gonna touch them and then they rust and then
Does
they will.
gold wither?
Gold doesn't rust.
Can I
Gold?
skip the cutscene?
Gold does.
It's
Gold
not a
is actually very
cutscene. Gold doesn't
corrosion
rust. It doesn't
resistant.
corrode.
Wait, it does.
No, gold
No.
does not corrode or rust.
Okay.
Oh! And nab the gold.
Honest.
Yeah,
Wait,
there,
nope,
so there were
you're not.
six.
I'm
there,
snapping.
there's
I'm
10
faster than
bags. And everyone would
10
see this right there.
bags.
It's 500 gold splattering across the ground. Like these little coins are gonna go flying all over the camp because you just touched the
Time to
bags.
start collecting.
But yeah, you guys watch as 500 gold coins glitter as they scatter across the website.
Yeah.
I pick
Yeah,
up
which one
gold.
pick up
Monkey mode
Yeah.
super activate.
I use my 3 hands to pick up gold.
Yeah, I'll pick up gold too.
Yeah, I mean,
What's
if
it
you're all,
called?
everyone
Or
is picking it up,
will
we're gonna
not be
split it,
touching
so-
anything.
All right, so we're gonna split it 4 ways then. 125 gold for each of you.
Oh, they like it actually doesn't like wither or anything.
No, it's gold does not corrode.
Now we
Yeah,
can
but
only
maybe
assume
it's
that
some other
there's not a
magical
reason
shit,
not to
okay?
run into
No,
for
it's
it.
not
Like
rotting. or
maybe
corroding.
fucking Thanos disintegrates. Okay.
You said how much?
125 gold for each of
125?
you.
Oh god, how do I?
But
Surely some creature's not
double
about
what
to
I
accuse
have
us
right
of
now.
stealing their gold, right?
Well, then
Wait,
I'll give it
guys.
to him.
I'm just before we decide to take this, as I'm shoveling in my purse. I just want to put it up there that clearly some dark magic shit has happened right here, and we don't know if this gold is involved. I just want us to keep that
As
in
she
mind.
shovels it in.
I'll be sure to spend it as soon as possible.
Now
Make
I'm
it
gonna
so
take it, but I'm just saying if we
Does
start
the gold
rapidly
have a date
aging, we're
marked on
gonna
it?
throw it.
Yeah, the gold doesn't have a date, but it does have an image
Oh,
on the
God.
gold, so you can tell what year it was made in.
Wait. Oh no, we just fell for the fucking Pirates of the Caribbean 1 coins.
Yeah, the
Fucking
coin
literally.
is the coin bears the image of the current emperor, Aurelian Invictus Sol, and on the far side it depicts a general with a wreath, laurel wreath around his head. And in fact, you guys would all probably recognize when these are minted because they were minted 5 years ago to inaugurate the Galentine War. So they're not that old.
Oh.
But they're still like usable, right?
I think it's
Yes, they are still usable at 100%.
Like valid.
Yeah, dude,
Wait,
you can
but-
use coins from 600 years ago, 1,000 years ago, 200 years ago. It doesn't need to be new.
I
Listen,
turned
okay, I
to
live in a country where our coins are not that old.
Yeah, true.
I'd like to turn to Maximus
pretty
and
funny.
hold up one of these gold coins and be like, Maximus, how long would it take for something like steel or iron to disintegrate to that degree where it withers away into dust? 5 years?
Why would Maximus know that?
Because he worked in the armies. He knows how.
He's not that old.
What?
True, he worked in the army. He knows.
well, he
something
could
else,
tell me.
I don't know. Matt, unless you happen to know this random fact, Ethan, you can just roll an int check to see if Maximus would know.
I mean, I basically know.
In real life?
Like-
you know?
Well, yeah. Well, I mean,
All right, sure, what do you got?
we find archaeological like weapons and armor and stuff. It's not in good condition or like usable condition, but we still find it from a couple thousands of years ago. But so it'd have to be here for longer than that to. I'll touch the nearest metal object and watch it like fucking disappear. to do that.
Seems
Oh god,
like-
Alex. Oh no.
What?
Poor
This
guy.
seems like some
Fucking
sort
Charlie
of
horse.
Oh, that's
either
what we call
black
them,
magic or
What's
something
black
is cursed
magic?
here.
Yeah, what's
Because-
black magic?
What I mean is dark magic.
What's dark
I
magic?
don't know what that is.
I
Bad
think it's
magic.
I think it's just the
It's just the Feywood, right?
I think it's just the time effects. Just because I think it's just been here a lot longer than we think.
Yeah. Because they
I
haven't been
think
stuck
that's
in
it.
here for like a bajillion years.
Well, yeah,
Because-
but time dilation and all that.
Yeah, it has to be.
Time dilation? What the fuck does that mean in this context?
Like, it makes time travel move differently.
Oh, okay, sure. Okay.
Yeah, I feel like that's pretty standard for what we know of the Deadwood.
Sure.
Well, no. But for it to look untouched, for us to interact with it, specifically us as outsiders, and for it to wither away, it's very strange.
Well, Lars, while all these guys are on their hands and knees scrambling for those coins, you're looking around the campsite and you see a flower, Lars. It's beautiful. Then, as you're looking at this flower, you realize something. It's not red. It's not yellow. It's not blue. It's definitely not purple, orange, or green. And
It's
you realize,
Lurple.
in all your time alive, you've never seen this color before. And in fact, it doesn't even seem to be a derivative of one of the three primary colors. It's indescribable, but deeply hauntingly beautiful.
I'm going to look away from it and try not to think about it.
There is no Lurple being chilling. All right, you just
Lurple
look
does
away
not
from the.
exist.
Yeah, you just look away from the flower and the other ones beside it.
I'm focusing on myself as much as possible. If I feel like my mind's starting to drift or anything, I'm gonna try to pinch or punch my.
So you're like straight
hand
up
or
like meditating. You're just like focusing on your breathing
Yeah.
and trying to ignore every. Okay. All
Lord
right.
does not like this place. He's very uncomfortable, especially because he
Okay.
almost died here last time from the matron dryad.
All right. Well, the rest of you guys finish scrounging together the coins. You can all sort of compare and be like, yeah. All right, 500 gold is what we needed. So you guys have collected every coin that fell from the bags. There are other items in the campsite. There is, as I mentioned before, some weapons, some camping supplies, things like that. And then obviously you can begin to inspect the perimeter of the camp to see where the hell these people went, if you'd like.
Yes, that would be nice.
We need to know which direction.
Okay. So you're just investigating the perimeter, not the rest of the shit in the camp.
I
The
will
rest of the-
investigate the stuff in the camp.
Okay. So, Severus, Maximus, and Zednius, you guys exit. You guys see Lars sort of standing, basically the exact same place you guys entered the camp, just like looking down at the ground, just sort of breathing in slowly and breathing out slowly, having a moment. And you guys can begin to investigate the edge of the camp. Looking around, Maximus, you're the first one to spot it. It's the most beautiful flower you've ever seen. It's Lurple.
What in God's green earth is that?
And Severus and Zenius, you
I look
feel this
over.
instinctual thing to look, and you see amidst a field of like lavender and what do you call those things? The blue flowers that have a yellow center. Fuck, I don't remember what they're called. But yeah, blue flowers and purple flowers and red flowers and yellow flowers. It is only by that contrast that you're able to designate which one is actually Lurple. It's a single flower. It has a beautiful fluorescence to it and a single what are they called? I think they're called stamens, which is like the sexual organ of the flower. On this one, it is a bright color of Lurple. The rest of the flower varies in different colors.
I don't like that.
Can I try to
Like what?
recreate it with a minor illusion? Is it possible? Can I figure that out?
I think
I was
minor
gonna do
illusion
that
allows you to
same thing.
recreate anything that you've seen. So yeah, you could recreate it.
Oh my god.
Wait, I can recreate Lurple.
We gotta get out of here.
Yeah.
We're gonna
The
break
Lurple
people's
Empire.
minds.
Yeah.
The Lurple Empire, yep.
Lurple clothing incoming. When Maximus says I don't like this, I wanna say what?
You glance over and you see. You're looking over,
That-
and then you spot Lurple.
No, I don't want to look at it.
Oh, okay. Well, then you look up and you see a field of flowers, but you don't look at the one flower that he was specifically gesturing towards.
No, I wanna, because
Uh.
I'm not that close to him. I'm investigating stuff on the ground. He just says, "Oh, I don't like that," so I'm gonna yell out while still investigating. What?
It's a new color.
New color? Wait,
Look.
Lurple?
Like
in the book? Like the journal?
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
Probably.
Like in the book.
that's probably what he was talking about.
Wasn't that his last entry?
What?
I mean,
But yeah, there was an entry in the book about Lurple. Yes, this is true.
and that was the last entry, wasn't it, Severus?
Yes.
Oh.
But look at it, it's
Maybe-
Lurple. What the fuck
Maybe
is
we
this?
shouldn't. No. Maybe we shouldn't touch those though.
Why
I'm
not? We
trying
should.
so hard not to listen to what they're talking about.
Yeah, Lars is just literally like hand over his ear, staring at the ground. Nothing is happening.
Can't
Nothing
hear
is
you, can't
happening. I don't hear any voices.
Well, I don't know. I'm scared to look at it now. I'm gonna start like putting my hands up by my eyes and be like, I want to see the Lurple.
Yeah, Severus. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. You know, you wish she could see it because it's genuinely like an incredibly beautiful flower. But it's still just a flower. Like it's not anything super crazy.
Yeah. Can I use Mage Hand to pick the flower?
Yeah, your mage hand moves forward. You pluck the flower up from the earth.
Is it only
moves-
one flower?
It's a single flower in a field of other ones.
I'm taking it.
You pluck it from the earth, and you can bring it closer. As it, all right, sorry, that was an assumption. All right, what are you doing with it once you plucked it?
I just want to like observe it for a few seconds, see if it like does anything weird.
Nope, stays Lurple.
I'll bring it closer.
Yeah, you bring it closer, and once it gets to about 6 feet, you begin to smell its aroma. It's not so much a smell, it's more of a memory associated with that smell. For you, it's that feeling when, in a place where no one cared about your abilities, a man extended an offer to you to make something of yourself. It's that feeling of home. It's that feeling of comfort, of having a purpose. And that flower brings back those memories crystal clear like they were yesterday, that memory of Tullius bringing you a purpose and genuine safety.
I'll bring it closer.
Yeah, the smell doesn't increase in intensity or anything quite like that, but it just brings you comfort. Zednius and Maximus, you guys are a little bit ways back from Severus, but you can see he just has this almost kind of dumb smile on his face as he smells the flower.
Severus, get that away from you.
Well, Peach, if you can
You doing,
see him, then
Severus?
you can see the Lurple.
All right, that's true.
Well, you see Lurple then. It's beautiful.
Oh God, Severus, get that away from you. What an interesting color, though. But still,
Yeah, I'll put it in my hand. Like I'll have like my hold in my
Yeah.
hand.
Yeah, to be clear, this does not. The flower it doesn't have any like mind control powers over you, as far as you can tell. It's just it happens to bring back very pleasant memories.
I'm just holding it in my
Yeah.
like in my hand and I'm looking at it and just like
Member berry.
I'm just completely phased.
Yeah. Yeah, you're just lost
I
in
go
memories of a
investigate the
happy
donkey.
past. Renesmee just walks away.
Again.
Giga Chad.
I'm
let's
not gonna
have a
be
third
here
Bruce
when
with
you
the
guys
script
all
not to
go
stop
crazy.
donkey.
All right, Renesmee, you begin to
You're
walk
the one
over
going
the donkey.
crazy.
Maximus
I'm
and
gonna smell the
Zednius.
dead donkey again.
Maximus.
Well, let me guess. The flower's fucking talking to you now? Yeah? That's why you brought it closer? Lurple this, Lurple that. I'm gonna go find out where these people
Jesus.
went.
Maximus and Zednius, your searching partner Severus is just holding this flower, smelling it. You guys are far enough that you can't quite smell it, but he looks very satisfied with himself.
I'm gonna back up a bit.
I'm not just satisfied. I'm
Yeah.
like, wait. There's only one way I can express this.
Uh-oh.
He's gonna post.
I'm
it.
standing
With
there
the
like
gift.
He's
this.
gonna be confused. Oh,
Oh.
feel strong, man. Okay, that's yeah, feel strong.
It just feels strong, man.
Yeah, tears, leaking from the grizzled Fermentari's eyes.
All
And
right
it's in his
then.
mage hand.
Yeah.
No, I put it in my actual hand now.
Oh, in your actual hand. Okay.
I have
Yeah,
a
do
glove
we
on,
see any other signs of them like leaving the camp area?
Of them leave. So you're just leaving Severus and searching the rest of the camp.
No, I'm gonna use my mage hand to try and rip it out of his hand.
He'll be okay for now.
I don't know.
Okay,
Looks
I mean,
kinda-
yeah, you summon a mage hand Zednius. Like, Severus is totally, like, alert. Like, he can see the you summoning the mage hand and moving it over towards him.
I thought he was like in a trance.
No, he's not in a trance. He's just having good memories. He's just remembering a pleasant
He's
childhood.
having a moment here.
Yeah.
Fuck is wrong with you?
Jesus. I thought he was in a trance.
Well, I mean, yeah, maybe Zednius even thinks he does, but as you summon the mage hand, you can see Severus, like, look directly at it and then look at you.
Are you gonna be okay, Severus?
Yeah. You should smell this.
Do I hear this?
Yeah.
Do
no.
not smell it!
Yeah, I'm gonna just roll a wisdom because I feel like maybe I should.
I mean, he's your brother, you know? He's
Yeah,
telling
I'm
you
sniffing this. He's a wise guy. He knows what to do. He knows what it's about.
So yeah, you walk over and begin to smell it. And you're going to cut to Lars. Lars, you're on the far side of the camp. You can vaguely hear this drama unfolding, but not the specifics of it. And as you're sort of looking at the ground, you feel intense vertigo, so powerful that by the time you return to your normal, like, awareness, you are on your ass, like, you know, staring up at the trees above you. You have no idea what just happened, but as you look into the trunk of a tree to your right, you see a face form there. It's staring back at you with two large amber eyes.
Yeah, he's just gonna quickly look away and go back to what he was doing, try not to focus on anything.
You look away from the tree, and you stare at the ground, and you push yourself back to your feet. You ignore the tree. And Maximus, you begin to search along the perimeter of this campsite. As you're looking, you find yourself, you see Severus, which is weird, because that would mean that you had to just have walked around the entire campsite, but you only took like 2 steps. And you look up and you see Severus's back, meaning you just did a full loop around the campsite, which is hundreds of feet in 2 steps.
God, this place is weird.
Yeah, after Lars fell on his butt, he's also in a cold sweat, trying not to look at stuff. So you guys will probably notice.
And while all this is happening, Renesmee, you are walking over to the donkey. What are you trying to investigate about it?
I just want to get a closer look. Like, you know, I want to kind of stab it with my knife a little bit.
Yeah.
Because the other people aren't here. I want a definitive cause of death. Because even if the donkey acceleratingly aged, at the time there was food. So I don't get why it wouldn't have just eaten the freaking food.
Yeah.
You know?
So you poke your knife into its neck to see this thickness of its skin. It's like leather, basically, that you're cutting through, so it takes a decent amount of force. Are you trying to, like, do a full-on autopsy, like cut open its throat, see what's in there, like look at his stomach? Like, is that what you're trying to do? Okay.
I'd like to not touch it with my hands too much. I would just like
How
to,
are you
know,
going to
with
do an autopsy without touching it?
with a stick and a knife.
This is going to take so fucking long. This is like days. That's such
Oh,
that would
fuck.
sound
Okay,
ridiculously
I'll get my
complex.
hands dirty.
Yeah, you can touch it. It seems to have already undergone the rapid aging that the other things have experienced, so it doesn't really, like, rot at all. And you can begin to get in there. The first thing you go for is the stomach, because that's most likely where its last meal will be. And as you cut open the interior, it's petrified dry. Like, there is not a single fucking drop of moisture in the entire body. But you cut open the stomach, and instantly blood begins to leak from what on the exterior looks like a completely dry stomach. Blood begins to leak as you stab into it, and as you cut open the stomach and its contents spill out onto the earth, it's blood and acid, and it looks like a fresh stomach on the inside. You see Lurple flowers, about 6 of them. The heads of the flowers had been eaten.
Hey guys, do you remember what I said about the flowers?
You glance over your shoulder and you see Severus there sniffing at the flower with a smile on his face. Zednius has now joined him, and Maximus just looks downright confused as he's looking at Severus's back.
Stop it, boys! Perform fucking autopsy on this donkey. And you know what its last meal was? The goddamn
Nothing, it
Lurple
stopped.
flowers.
Yeah, because it was desperate and stopped. Nobody cares.
And it clearly died because those flowers are poisonous.
They look so tasty, though.
Okay,
They
then
smell
eat one,
good.
Severus. Then go ahead and eat one.
They smell this good.
Hey,
Go
so
for
I
it.
just walked I just walked around the camp in like 3 steps. Is that concerning? Anyone?
Mildly, I think.
No. No. Okay. I'm just gonna, and I'll try and recreate it.
Yeah, you take a step forward, and Renesmee, from your perspective, Maximus just does a full walking loop around the camp. But Maximus, you take a step forward, and then you are just back. You're literally right next to Zednius, like Zednius is beside you, and you feel the smell of the flower enter into your nostrils, and you remember your glory days on the battlefield. You were a menace, a terror to your enemies, lance in one hand, enemies across the field.
No, I hurt myself away. No.
Where are you moving?
No.
Are you just taking a step backwards?
No, I'm going towards the fucking the fun police that is Renesmee.
All right, you take a step towards Renesmee, and when again, Renesmee, you watch as he walks right past you, and from your perspective, the next time that you come in, Maximus, you are standing and sitting on the ground right next to Lars.
Maximus, you're acting very strange. You've been walking circles around the campground. Are you all right?
I haven't been doing no circles. Well, I suppose I have. Wait.
Renesmee,
Maximus?
on one side, you have Severus and Zednius laying on the ground with a flower in between them, holding hands. They seem to be looking
Wait,
at
I'm not
something.
laying on the ground. What do you mean?
You are now.
Oh.
They are holding hands and looking up towards something in the air that you can't quite see, Renesmee. And you see Lars and Maximus sitting on their asses. They both look pretty not good. They look very scared. And maybe not Maximus as much, but Lars looks very scared.
Hey, okay, guys. I don't. You see, this is why I respect nature, and because of that, you guys should take some tips. Because these flowers, and I'm certain it's the flowers, they are fucking you all up. There is a reason that was his last entry. All right, Maximus, I want you to know that when you said you were going to take a step forward, I saw you walk a lap around this camp, and then you were confused.
Yeah, because I just kind of was next to Zednius all of a sudden. Again. This place is... Alright, this place is fucky. Let's try this one more time. And I'm going to... I'm gonna investigate for signs that, signs of the other party here going anywhere else.
Alright. You stagger to your feet. It's a bit of a maneuver, you feel sick to your stomach as you stand upright, and you feel a lurching taking step forward, and when you're next to where you are on the ground in front of Renesmee, vomiting full force, and Renesmee, you just walked as Maximus walked right up to you and then vomited on the ground directly in front of you.
I'll be like, oh, darling. Alright, Can I thorn whip the flower or whatever they're holding?
Yeah, so right now you glance back over. You've been looking at Maximus, so you glance back over to Severus and Zednius, and you can see the two of them are now like the flower is directly in between their heads. They're holding each other's hands stretched out over their head, and they both have these, happy smiles on their faces. You see tears streaming down the face of Zednius.
Oh my fucking god! Can I thorn whip it? I want to whip.
Well, that means you have to get within 10 feet, right?
No, it's within like 30 feet or something like that.
Let's put it in the chat. Let's see the range on it.
I will in one sec. There we go.
30 feet, yeah. So you can go. So you want to pull it closer to you?
No, I want to throw it into. I want to throw it into the field of flowers and let it get lost. Now that it's not going to be poking up.
All right, you walk within 30 feet of it, and you whip out towards it. Your thorn whip wraps around the flower, grasps positive control of it. How are you going to throw it? Are you just going to like pull it, whip it over your head, and then fling it out? Yeah, you have it grasped. It's held by the thorn whip about 30 feet away.
I want to imagine you're throwing a frisbee.
Yeah, so you're pulling it towards you and then throwing it out full strength.
No, I don't want that shit anywhere.
Okay, then how do you throw it without pulling it towards you?
Then I will take the whip and I will kind of ring around the rosy, just literally swing my body. I will circle my body around so that I throw it.
Unfortunately, because of the tents and other things at the campsite, that's not going to quite work. You're going to hit like posts supporting tents and the corpse of the donkey and probably, yeah, other tents.
Okay, it's on my thorn whip, yes?
Yeah, it's being held by the very tip of your thorn whip right now.
I would like to start sprinting away from everyone else.
So that means into the woods.
No, at the campsite, but just on the opposite
Well-
end of everyone else.
So Severus and Xenius are on opposite sides, so to sprint away would be into the woods. Like,
Okay, can I cover my nose and mouth and eyes as I bring it closer to me?
yeah, so how are you doing that?
Okay, it's on my thorn whip. I would like to...
One hand's holding the thorn whip, so you only have one hand available.
I would like to literally lug my nose
Okay.
like this.
Yep.
I'd like to close my eyes.
Okay.
And I'd like to hold my breath.
Okay, all right, you taking a deep breath, and you pull it over your head and throw it out. And about halfway through this motion, you remember something that you haven't thought about in a really, really long time. It's a memory you didn't even know that you had. It's you as a little girl. Your mom's still alive. You don't remember anything from back in those days. You're near the docks with her. She's taking snails out of their shells. Those shells are going to be pulverized to make a dye. And she is singing you an elven song. And you find yourself humming along to it. And then that memory is wrenched from your head incredibly painfully as you just, the entire memory just evaporates, but you're aware that it was once there. And when your eyes open again, you see the Lurple flower is flying through the air and disappears into a distant thicket. And Severus and Xenius, similarly for you, these positive memories, these rare positive memories of your lives are ripped from your skulls. You are aware that a positive memory was once there, but you can no longer recall them.
All right. You two? Are they looking at me?
They
No.
are alert
No.
to me, but they don't have to look at you, but they are alert and aware.
Yeah. I'm just wondering.
Wait,
you two.
where again?
You are aware again, yeah. The memory that you were lounging in has been ripped from your mind.
Try to take one step towards me.
Where's the flower?
I want to remember.
Give me my flower back.
Oh my
You look
god.
around
Okay,
desperately,
they're going
Severus,
through
and you can't
emotional
see it. You don't see
withdrawal.
Lurple. Lurple is gone.
All right.
What did you do?
I'm gonna look at Maximus. Maximus? Okay, I just need you to stare at me for a second. All I need is your mental capacities. I'm going to take one step towards you. I need to see if I've been infected.
Infected by what?
Sarah, shut up! I'm gonna take one step towards Maximus.
Yeah, you take a step
What is
towards him.
going on?
You take a step towards Maximus. You feel fine. Maximus, your nausea is beginning to pass. It was horrible. It was like worst hangover you'd ever experienced, and it is slowly beginning to fade. Your head is no longer pounding. Your stomach is no longer revolting against your existence.
Ugh.
Did I do
Oh,
a loop?
God,
Did I
that's
do a
better.
lap? Did something happen? Am I still here? I'm patting myself anxiously.
Yeah, you've taken one step and you are okay.
Yes, Renesmee, it does
We should
appear
keep-
that you are still here.
Right,
Okay.
Miss May.
Did we find the trail of the wizard?
Oh my god.
I'm sure there's probably more Lurple.
Yeah, we haven't.
I'm. Where's the
Lars,
flower?
back at the entrance to the
Xenius?
camp,
Sorry.
you've been separated from most of these people talking, the Renesmee and all that, but you in your own world have been trying to focus on breathing, trying to ignore the nausea, the vertigo, those faces in the trees that you saw, but even you feel, you feel the vertigo and the nausea pass, even you have to, glance a peek. You have to know if it's still there, and you look
No,
at you.
I don't.
You're
I
not,
don't.
You're not looking. You're just
Like,
your eyes
nope,
are
I'm
slammed
not.
shut, even though the.
I'm waiting until one of my companions touch me until
All
they're
right,
ready to
then
go.
you are just curled up in a ball on the edge of the camp. So,
Lars? Do I see Lars?
yeah, you see him curled up in a ball on the edge of the camp. He has his eyes closed, his arms over his head.
Oh, okay. What was the point of trying to locate these people? Did they have something that we needed?
Yes,
We
magical
need the
items and
artifact.
components.
component for the clairvoyance spell?
Do we know what that component is?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it the focus? The
I'll
arcane
go find the
focus?
exact thing. I think it was a valuable arcane focus. Yeah.
Can I search through things with
I mean,
like
it's
not
gonna be
trying
with
to touch it with my
Wizard's
hand?
body, right?
It could be. I just want to make sure it's not on the campground.
Sure. You know where the wizard's tent is. It's most likely the one with the journal and, the complex arcane theory. So, do you want to check in on each of the party members to make sure they're all right first, or are you just going to go back to searching?
I am.
You seem to have been the least affected by this, like, to a very substantial degree.
Yeah, I am going to look at Maximus, who seems like the worst off, for now at least. Maximus, can you try to like crawl towards me?
I'm good.
Yeah, you see him sort of stand up to his feet. He doesn't seem to be, like...
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm all right.
I'm gonna look for the focus.
Yeah, you stand up, Zednius.
Yeah.
You are not being influenced directly by the flower, but that memory that you were remembering, it was memory when you had been taken from the streets of Nausea, similar to Severus, and you had been taught and told you were special and your magic made you unique. That memory is gone. You're aware that there was once a memory there of you being taught and raised. You remember the skills, but that warmth, the happiness that came along with that memory is gone entirely.
I'll find the artifact, guys. Let me look.
Yeah. Roll me an investigation check, Zednius. And
Okay.
I'll search
All
as
right.
well. Yeah.
You're searching for the artifact? All right. Severus, what are you doing?
I'm casting minor illusion of the Lurple flower.
You try to remember what it looked
my
like,
gosh.
but it passes through your mind. It's like trying to grab onto, a single like balloon floating away. You try to remember as best as you can, but everything you make isn't right. You summon a dozen different variations of flowers as people around you move, and none of them they're just not the same. They don't even look the same color. And that's a blue. That's red. That's cyan. That's pink. These are all colors you know. These aren't it. And you can't conjure it. It's gone. So, Renesmee, you head into the magician's tent to begin to look for different objects. Maximus can walk over and join you. He seems mostly fine, like 90% recovered. He still has a bit of swaying to his steps, but he doesn't have this like glassy-eyed look and just stumbling forward. He's alert. And the pair of you guys can begin to search through the tent. However, despite Zednius saying he'd assist you in searching, you glance towards the entrance to the tent and notice he is not there.
Should we deal with that now or later?
Deal with what? Zednius?
Never mind. Yeah, let's continue looking.
So,
Yeah, I
Zednius,
assume he's doing.
you're
laps
trouncing
around
out into
the-
a field of flowers looking for Lurple. And as
God.
one footstep brings you forward, you look around, and it's the same feeling as Severus. It's just that, these are all real colors. Some of them are close, but no, they're not, because there's a bit of blue in there. No, that one has purple in it, and none of them are quite there. And I think you just feel this wave of despair wash through you. That thing is gone forever. That memory is gone forever. That happiness that you had in those brief moments, that one sort of...
I
rock
fall to my
pillar.
knees.
Yeah.
I'm bawling. I'm crying in this field of not Lurple.
Yeah. Yeah. You're crying in a field of not Lurple.
Yep.
All right. Renesmee and Maximus, you search, and you find a what you think is a compass at first, but you quickly realize it's not. It's moving, like the thing that points towards whatever north is, because it's not labeled N. It's just like it's just a symbol that seems pretty arbitrary to you, and the compass head is constantly moving, as if it's trying to lock onto something. But that's the only object of even remote note that you find in there.
I know what an arcane focus or something would look like.
Do you know what an arcane focus would look like? Arcane focuses
I have
can look
a
like practically
druidic
anything,
focus. Because I'm like scared that, like, for example, could that be the very magical, powerful focus?
yeah. Maybe. It doesn't operate like any focus you've ever seen, but you also haven't seen that many arcane focuses. You'd have to ask Zednius
You need to go.
maybe
Maybe
Severus.
we do need to go get Zednius.
Oh God.
Alright. I'm gonna go get Zednius.
Yeah, you walk out of the
Are you
tent
sure?
and you see Severus is near the edge
Oh,
of
I
that
can
field of
try.
flowers, just weeping, and you watch as he keeps summoning new minor illusions of flowers, and none of he just continues to cry as he sees the new ones appear. And then Zednius is just like on his knees out in the field, arms outstretched, just like weeping, sobbing.
They would both
Eh,
fucking die in
not.
the wild.
Maybe not.
You just see the two like most hardened, fucking grizzled, like borderline psychopaths just crying in a field of flowers.
That's
And Lars is curled up into a ball.
what the. What happened to him? I'll point at Lars.
Yeah, Renesmee the only other one that's like even acknowledged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You all smelled those goddamn flowers. Or you looked at them, or... I don't know. It felt like when it got close to me, I got these really weird memories.
What, that fucking Lurple nonsense the magic dude mentioned?
Yeah, I mean, clearly what's causing all this. At least from what we can tell.
Lars never even entered the camp.
From what you can tell, I suppose.
Lurple is real, Lurple is real, Lurple isn't real.
What were we here for? The focus?
Yeah, we need the arcane
Okay.
focus. Can I ritual cast detect magic?
Wait,
Yeah,
what
you can
time?
begin
Oh,
to
that's
sit in the
really
tent.
bad. That's
Yeah,
dumb.
you sit in the tent and you begin to ritual cast detect magic.
Right.
You
Wasn't
begin to
I
chant.
trying to find where they left from?
I think you were before, yeah.
You were
Just
from
don't get
Princess
close to any of those flowers.
It's gone.
Alright, I'm gonna try this a fucking another time.
Yeah.
I keep getting distracted.
All right, you stand up and you begin to walk around the perimeter of the camp.
Ugh.
There is no weird teleporting this time. You just walk along
my
around
God.
the camp. You pass by Lars, who's still curled up in a ball. You can begin to inspect areas, and sure enough, you have no idea how you missed it. It's literally the most like in the exact same way. Like Lars is sitting where you guys entered. There's tons of signs of people having passed through there very recently. And in the same way, about 3/4 of the way across the camp, you find the exact same thing. Someone who went deeper into the woods here, though noticeably no donkey because the donkey's still here. But 8 distinct sets of footprints making their way into the woods.
Renesmee,
Yeah?
She's rich.
I found it.
Oh!
Not
That's
the
good.
focus, but where they went.
Oh! Okay. That's still good. I don't know how we're gonna continue with these 3. I looked at them in the condition that they're in.
I'll go over to Zednius.
Zednius, how
Like
are you
right
feeling?
next
It's
to
been
him?
maybe a minute or two since you have resolved to yourself to never seeing Lurple again. You are utterly depressed, stuck in a crater.
Yeah,
of
I'm
sadness.
utterly depressed.
Okay, so
That
you're
was
just
the
sitting
last
there, just-
time I felt happiness, and I don't know the next time I'll ever feel that again. So
Yeah, so
pretty sad.
yeah, I guess as Maximus is walking up, like, do you even acknowledge him, or are you just staring like out at the grasses around you or the flowers?
I'm probably just saying it's gone. It's gone.
I'm gonna like grab Zednius by like the scruff of his fucking collar.
Yeah.
Just shake him.
The fuck?
Maximus,
baby.
no!
That doesn't work.
I don't know if he's high or just stupid.
I definitely know
Renesmee,
which one it is.
When was the last
but,
time you were happy?
Oh no!
Uh-oh. That isn't a good sign.
Well, I just mean, sorry, that was rude of me, but you're still acting weird, and I can't tell if you're just being emotional or high.
Are you good?
I'll be fine. It's just
I don't know
Alright,
if I'll ever
alright.
be good again.
Oh, are you good too?
I'll be muttering to myself.
I don't
I've
think
warned
so.
them 1,000,000 times. I don't get it. I tell them it's gonna kill them. I tell them it's gonna hurt them.
What's wrong with you?
Yes, I'll just good. Personally.
So,
Well-
yeah, I think he was asking
What?
you, Severus.
What's wrong with you?
Lost. I lost it.
And
You'll find it again. Wait, no, you won't. But that's okay.
It's gone.
It's bad for you anyway.
Maximus,
Anyway, we're going
Yeah.
somewhere
I
else.
mean the flower.
As
mean
you're
the
listening to
fucking
Severus
stupid
talk,
flower.
you You feel your mind brought back to those memories. They're only brief. You only saw a snippet of them. This triumphant charge across the plains. You in your prime, a killing machine, 20 years old, freshly made a centurion, delivering death upon your foes. You remember it, but that joy, that triumph, that pride, totally gone.
Oh. Wait, so it zapped the good part of those memories?
Yes.
It literally took the happiness away.
Oh.
Do I see his face change?
Yeah, you just see aware.
Now you get it. Now you get it.
Of course,
Maximus?
I couldn't escape the army without taking my literal happiness from me. The fucking course. All right, we're going. Let's fucking go. And I will fucking pick the other two up.
The only one who wasn't affected was Renesmee because
Lars
she
didn't lose
didn't
his
have happiness in the first place.
True.
I mean, Lars doesn't look like he's trying. He just like curled up in a ball. But yeah, I mean, you guys are no longer like debilitated. You're just sad. So.
Wait, Severus just thinks that like Renesmee was only not affected because she has like nothing but bad memories.
Oh god,
So
he's
he's
just fucking depresso.
So he's just like crying and wanting like going over to her to like hug her.
The memories aren't gone, right?
No,
just the
you
feeling
perfectly remember it. It's just there's no happiness for it. Like you remember just like, and the fucked up thing is you even remember once being happy when remembering that. It just you don't feel it when you think about it. It's not an intellectual thing. It's an emotional thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If he tries to come to hug me,
Yeah,
I'm
Severus
going to
walked over.
absolutely back up. Like, do not. What are you doing?
I understand now.
Understand what? That you were wrong?
That doesn't matter, does it? Yeah, sure, I was wrong, but
What?
that thing took the happiness. And it didn't take yours because you didn't have any to take. How can you live
Chris?
like this?
Severus, you can't say that. I'm perfectly fine.
You don't seem fine. You
I
don't
didn't get
ever seem
affected
fine.
I didn't get affected that deeply because I didn't get close to it. I've warned you guys a million times.
No, I see it now.
Let's
I see it in all of the
go.
actions.
Yeah, Maximus,
I
you've
found
now
where
you've
I
helped.
was there, I just didn't realize it.
Yeah, you've
All
helped
right,
Zednius
let's
to his
come
feet,
on.
and you walk over. The only person still, unresponsive, I suppose, would be Lars, curled up in a ball beside the entrance to the camp.
Lars?
Lars, time to pull yourself together.
He's not responding.
Up you get. Come along.
Yeah, you feel a hand sort of grab you underneath the arm, Lars, and pull you up.
And he'll slowly look up at the person.
Yeah, you see Maximus.
Lethal.
Maximus'
Kinda like-
face is shifting.
no.
He'll slowly look around, and if it seems like he doesn't see anything weird.
Yeah, you
then
look
he'll
at that
kinda
tree where you
slowly
remember
get
the
back up.
face. There is no face anymore.
All right.
Time to go.
There is no Lurple.
I didn't hear about the Lurple technically.
Yeah, that's true.
Alright. Probably don't touch random wildlife that you find in here. Alright?
Yeah, it's gonna take all of your happiness if you have any.
Oh my god.
Lars is aware, but he's like 1,000 yards stare, just like following wherever you guys are going now.
Yeah, it's worth mentioning, Lars. I assume you know this. You did not experience any happy memories, nor had any
Correct.
taken away from you. You just felt nauseous and then sat on your ass. So you're Phil. And some maybe hallucination, maybe.
I think after the previous experience in the Deadwood, Lars is just like knowing this is a force that like he can die here. There's nothing he can do about it. Like,
yeah, basically, you can't punch like magic.
Yeah.
You guys begin to walk towards the edge of the camp. Maximus leading the way. Sure enough, you guys can see it. It's like brain dead simple. Anyone fully aware would have been able to see it. Renesmee, you're taking it. All right, one, are you taking that compass that you found inside the tent?
Yes.
Okay, add that to your sheet. And then two, as you follow at the end of the column, like you're at the very back as you were in the standard marching order, you look back and you see in the stomach contents of the donkey spilled across the ground 7 more of those flowers. No one else saw them as they were exiting the camp. They're all still focused on following Maximus, still a bit out of it, but you're conscious enough and aware enough to see those 7 flowers. You are within a foot of them. Hell, you were even closer. You spilled out the contents and they're on the ground right there. And yet, you weren't super impacted by them. I don't know how Renesmee would take that, but it could be that maybe Severus is right. 7 flowers, 7 times more than they were exposed to, and nothing happened.
But
They also sniffed it.
one
We don't know.
True,
memory
that is.
of my mom and the snails.
Yeah, but you don't even
I
remember
guess-
that memory happened before. You weren't even aware that took place.
That is true. I'll just chalk it up to
Weird
Renesmee
Deadwood
at
magic.
least.
I mean, it's just weird Deadwood magic.
Yeah,
Like, it doesn't mean
I'll be
anything.
like-
Yeah.
Well, no, I will assume that because those leaves were like eaten, that it wasn't as potent.
Yeah,
you know.
that makes sense. I mean, it was digested and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you join to the back of the column, and you guys begin to follow this trail. Slowly, even some of the residual effects of the flower will begin to very slowly, like this is going to be a probably months-long thing, begin to slowly wear off. Like, Zednius, you very slowly begin to feel the warmth and joy return. It's just like remembering it was once good enough to give you this broad smile on your face and warm your heart. Now it's just enough to like give you the slightest tug at the edge of your lip. Like,
Oh, even still in the Deadwood?
yeah,
Or
even still in the Deadwood.
Oh, okay.
The-
Then that gives me hope.
Yeah, the
Okay.
further you get from the Lurple, it seems to improve.
Okay.
And you guys begin to follow this trail. Weirdly enough, it's just like walking through the woods. There's no weird like time dilation as you're following this trail. It's pretty quiet out here. You hear the normal sounds of ambient trees. And then after almost a full 30 minutes of normal stuff, which is almost a record in the Deadwood, Maximus, you step forward, and for a brief second, you feel like you're falling. Like that split second when you're about to fall asleep, but catch yourself. Then you all find yourselves at the edge of a clearing. The trees around you are large, but not unnaturally so. The same can't be said for the colossal conifer in the central of the clearing. The branches stretch hundreds upon hundreds of feet across the clearing, and the trunk is so large it would take nearly 60 men stretched arm to arm to cover it. But it is not the tree that draws your attention, but its 2 major features. The first is the creatures occupying its branches. The branches are brimming with life, from mundane squirrels to a variety of humanoid creatures. They're small blue figures zipping from branch to branch, short little women with wings and wands, and angry, stumpy old men with red hats and sickles. These creatures are not engaged in merriment, though. They all stare down at you. Foreigner, invaders. You can see exactly how they feel on their expressions. And the singular message that seems to preside higher than any other emotion is one of hatred. Happy little women with wands and wings stare at you with blood-red fury on their faces. Angry little blue duelists have their blades pointed in your direction from hundreds of feet in the trees above. But the clearing stays quiet for a brief moment, this pause before a storm, and then you hear a voice fill the clearing. Ah, more children of ills and art have come to bargain then. You look from the upper branches and notice that the voice has emanated from a hollow at the base of the tree. The opening is large, easily capable of fitting a cart or some colossal beast, but the voice sounds old and female. The voice continues just as the shock of this situation begins to alleviate. Well, stay out there. I'll greet you as I did the other guests. You have a moment to do something if you'd like.
I'm going to put my shield up, between, just basically so I can't see anything.
Okay, you raise your shield and look away towards the ground. What do the rest of you guys do? You'll have a moment to react.
From the second that Lars heard that voice, he kind of just froze up, and if anyone looked at him, it's like a deadpan.
All right,
And
he's just
gonna run
staring.
He's running in the
at the
opposite
tree.
direction that we came from. I'm running.
All
the way we
right,
came
yeah,
from.
every muscle in your body tells you to run backwards, but actually, I think you would be able to start to turn around and take a step, but when you step forward, you'd find yourself back in the original position that you were in.
I just want to
I'm
fire
try it
my
one more
arrow.
time.
Very calm.
All right, so Renesmee is very
I'm going
calm.
to.
Severus, what were you
I'm
doing?
gonna turn to
Oh, sorry.
my comrades and be like, I don't know what's happening, but we should try to remain as most extremely respectful as possible.
Severus, what are you doing?
I'm unknocking my arrow that I was about to shoot at them. okay.
Zednius, what are you doing?
I cast Armor of Agathis.
All right, and then finally, Lars, you go for the second step. You turn around again and step forward, and you find yourself on your hands and knees. That nausea that you felt to a slight degree before hits you again, and you don't vomit, but man, is it close. Like, you feel the acid beginning to move up your throat. And then the entire clearing breaks out into movement. Sugar gliders use their wings to flee the upper branches, gliding to safety. Winged women with wands mutter incantations, disappearing with a puff of smoke. And the angry little men sheathe their swords and dart away. Then, exiting from the hollow at the base of the tree is a woman, a creature. She towers at 8 feet. Her skin is a gnarled mass of warts. The color of the skin is just as off-putting as the texture. It is gray, like a body seeped of all of its blood, and yet the creature seems to bear no sign of weakness from having lost it all. Colossal muscular limbs spread across her body, and various trinkets hang from practically every exposed surface. A bandolier of human skulls around her chest, a necklace of unidentifiable animal bones, and around her waist are what you can only assume to be magical items. Spellbooks, blades, a horn with dwarvish runes, a torn cloak, and a glimmering pearl. However, it is the face of the creature that repulses you more than anything else. Barely even human, the features of the face are contorted into an angry glower. Only red eyes stare out at you at all, and one red eye stares out at you, and the other socket is empty and festering with rot as maggots writhe within it.
Can I take take a knee and be like, like kind of like in a bow? I recognize that we are in someone else's territory.
Yeah, you take a bow, and her voice washes over the clearing again. You can't believe that a normal human voice comes out of that horrific creature, but it does.
Well, it's been some time since I've seen you, children. Ilnazar, what a strange progeny he has produced.
And her one red eye leers on each one of you, even Maximus hiding behind his shield.
I'm gonna take down my shield very slowly and just look.
Yeah.
Can I look up at her and say, Ilnazar? Who is Ilnazar?
She waves a hand, totally ignoring what you just said, and directs her one glowing red eye onto Zednius.
Oh.
You're a tricky one. Well, what are you here for, then? If you've come to my grove, I presume you have a request.
We were searching for some lost comrades.
Your last visitor, we believe he had an item with him. We were trying to retrieve it.
Yes, the tasty one with all the questions.
Probably, yes.
Tasty one.
Yes, he came to me. He said he could offer me protection. Said the Empire would guard my grove when the rest of the woods were burned down. And I took him up on his offer. He now guards my inner sanctum.
Oh, good.
Where is he?
Oh,
in
I can go fetch him if you like, but I'm afraid it may disturb you all. You children of illness are of such fragile minds.
No, that
will be all right.
That will be quite all right.
And what is it that you search for that he carried? His book, perhaps? It is trifling.
An arcane focus.
She reaches down towards her belt, her long clawed fingers moving past the pearl and the horn, moving past a spellbook and a bent blade that looks to be made of mithril, and she grabs a necklace from her, an amulet that was socketed alongside the many other magical items. It has a massive amethyst at the center, and she sort of lifts it up and inspects it and says,
This is a great ask you have of me.
We can. Do you care for money?
And where would I spend it?
What do you ask then?
I ask.
Thinks for a long moment.
I would like you to offer me something utterly devastating to your own lives.
All of us.
All right.
No,
Alex?
a lot of you.
Like each of us, or
All of you.
Or just
Combined
one of us?
into one.
May I ask?
So then something that would affect all of our lives, or just one of our lives?
Are you asking her that clarifying question?
Yes.
The specifics aren't important. I'd like it to be painful. Gory is ideal. But the whole point is that all of you suffer.
Alex,
Yeah.
this is my bond right here. Just to give you some context as to what I'm about to do.
Oh no.
That right there. Okay. All right, and I lay down the mithril spear that I carry, as well as this.
All right. You place those two items on the ground. You watch as her, she steps closer now. You know, you can smell the rot drifting off from her body. It is the smell of a bloated and rotting corpse. The maggots festering in her eye. One of them plops out onto the earth, and you see they're far larger than you had thought. They're about the size of a thumb. And she reaches out one of her massive, lengthy arms, and just with the tips of the claws, and begins to inspect the lance. She mulls it over for a long moment.
The
spear. Okay.
Spear.
She
The
mulls it
spear,
over
yes.
for a long moment, and then drops it back on the ground.
More.
That pearl that you have, may I ask, does it happen to be a pearl of power?
It is a magical pearl, if that's what you're asking.
What does the pearl do?
So you've come here for 2 items, then. Then I will need something of great, great suffering.
It's only me that wants the pearl, not them.
Well,
I've been
unfortunately,
searching.
you've come here as a lot, so you have to wager and deal as a lot. If you wish
No,
for the 2 items...
just the one item.
The 2, but I will take
One.
a great personal sacrifice. I will think of something.
She sort of looks along you, and her massive clawed hand begins to reach out towards you, Zetnius.
I don't even know what's important on me.
Yeah, the tip of one of her claws sort of touches your shoulder and sort of drags along the shoulder, along the neck, and then to the base of the chin. She says,
Now you,
What do you want?
are a curious specimen.
Why is that?
It's no matter to you. It's not even you, really.
What?
She withdraws her hand.
Perhaps I'll offer you the same deal that I did that wizard and his friends. They asked me to deliver them deeper into the woods, and they offered me protection. I took them at their literal word, and they do guard my sanctum now. What service can you offer me? I hope it's something grand. I hear the Bear King's party is soon. I'd be remiss to miss it.
Lars is going to ignore everything and just walk straight up to her.
Yeah, she watches
right in
as
front of
this.
her.
Yeah, you walk up, about 8 feet to get closer to her. The smell of rot is overpowering, but you can push through it, and she will just look down at you. That one red eye, staring down at you.
He's very, you can tell he's nervous. He's like sweating. He's like trying to his frantic eyes kind of darting around, but he's saying, will my suffering be enough? Blood on all?
If it's sufficient, yes.
Lord will start beating himself up and punching himself in the face and stomach.
You punch yourself in the
God.
face, and your magical empowered tattoo flares up as you strike your chin. Roll damage to see how much damage the first punch deals.
My goodness.
All right, you hit
Holy.
yourself for 13 bludgeoning. Your head cocks back, and this sort of deep reverberating chuckle fills the clearing. It says,
No, that's all temporary, but I think we could figure something out. Perhaps,
she sort of looks you up and down, and her claw sort of drags from the base of your neck down to the just above your butt, and she says,
perhaps, yes. Yes. What did you like to look like? A missing eye?
Wait, she's saying take out my eye?
she's asking you.
He's just going to nod.
You've seen so many things with those eyes. Those memories can be very tasty. I think that will do.
She's saying one, though? I thought she said one because she has one.
She said one.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Lars, are you sure?
sort of stretches her arms back, moving to their full wingspan, spanning almost 16 feet with her arms stretched. Then she pulls them back towards her, and she says,
We can do it now. It'll be quick.
He just nods again.
And this
Can I
will get
cast
us
message?
the necklace.
She's ignoring you now. She's talking mostly to Lars at this moment. So would you guys like so you can see one of her clawed hands beginning to descend towards Lars's face. Do you guys want to watch this?
Can I cast message on Lars?
You can cast message, sure.
Did she already
I think it
nab my
requires a willing
arrowhead?
participant,
She has no,
so-
she dropped them back on the ground.
I
Well,
believe
if I-
message requires a
Yeah.
willing participant. and
Oh
Lars
yeah,
is
true.
not
It
willing.
does
Yeah.
require a willing participant.
I'm
it?
not staring
I
at
don't think it
Lars
does.
anymore.
Okay.
I'm staring at the arrowhead.
All right, then Maximus looks away. Renesmee, Severus, and Zednius, you're gonna watch as the claw descends on Lars's face.
I mean,
By the
his
way,
choice.
message does not require a willing participant.
Oh my. Okay, then
Oh,
what
so
are you
chat-
what message are you forcing upon him?
Because I'm pretty sure we've had this
Oh.
come up before. So
I
if
feel
you're
like
willing
we
to
have
post
to,
it,
No.
You point your finger towards a creature and whisper the target. Here's a message you can only reply. Yeah, doesn't require a willing participant. I think it's a different spell. There's a bunch of different ones that do require willing,
Yeah.
but this one doesn't. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
what message do you want to force into his ears?
How about you just punch her? Now.
Oh my god.
Lars is ignoring it.
Okay, I assume so. So for those of you that are watching, are any of you watching? It sounds like Zendia says at least.
I'm very intently seeing what's
All right.
going to happen.
Yeah,
here.
you watch as that
I
long
don't want this
curved
to
claw
happen. What the
reaches
fuck?
down towards the upper part of his face. One of them holds his head back, and the other one,
Stop. I'm rushing in
you're rushing
to
in.
interrupt. Yes.
All
Yeah,
right.
if I
so
see
you
that,
were-
I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna try and grapple him.
all right. Acrobatics check for Severus, and then I think athletics for Maximus.
Okay. Damn.
Oh no.
All right, Severus.
Oh, God.
He reaches. Maximus reaches
Got
out
a
like he's
19.
still looking away to stop you, but you leap over his hand and you begin to move towards the woman. She
Well,
sees you.
that's what
and
he wants
she
to do. That's
withdraws
what
her
he'll do.
hands away from
Do I
Lars's
see Severus
face.
coming?
I think out of the corner of your right eye, yeah, you see him running towards you. And the woman, you feel her release her iron grip on your chin, and she looks at Severus running towards her and says, "Oh, do you have something to offer?"
As soon as Severus gets close enough, Lars is going to try to punch him away.
Whoa! Woof, baboof. Are you like
Why?
trying to inflict damage, or are you just shoving him?
Why do you want to lose your eyes
I
so
will try
bad?
to shove
Fuck.
him away, but if he keeps trying to persist, I'll punch
All
him.
right, athletics check to shove him away. This is just normal to hit AC, so whatever his AC is, you gotta surpass that to shove.
Yep.
Yeah, you
Of
get shoved
course.
backwards 5 feet. Like, you fall hard on your ass, Severus, as Lars pushes you back.
He'll turn back to the tree thing.
Yeah,
and just
she just-
nervously smile.
Yeah,
and
she
wait for him.
shrugs, and you feel that iron. As Severus,
Lars,
as you're getting to your feet,
Stop.
Lars, you feel the iron grip cement around your jaw, that horrific strength held in those great muscled limbs. The claw
I said,
descends.
stop. I have something better.
While she's doing that, I'm gonna take my arrowhead back.
Yeah.
Not the spear,
The-
but just the
As
arrowhead.
you speak, Severus, the claw pauses maybe an inch away from the eye, and she glances over. She's looking at you, Severus, with one red eye.
I offer you my faith.
Faith.
My faith into Aurelian's soul.
He thinks for a long moment. You see her, her mouth opens and you see the serrated teeth and jagged ones underneath. Her tongue, which is a blackened, almost slug-like thing, sort of drags across the teeth as she thinks.
My hand goes to the hilt of my sword.
Yeah. No. It is not sufficient.
Everything I have. It's what I am.
No.
You're just saying I'm not enough.
Perhaps. I know it when it make me sated.
Lars, while not looking towards Severus, will say or kind of underneath his breath, where you can hear him. Stay out of this, Severus.
You don't have to do this to yourself.
Go back with the rest.
And her
Why are
claw,
you
which
doing
was
this?
hesitating about 2 inches away,
You shouldn't even be
begins
here.
to descend. Severus, do you want to look? You're looking right into his eyes right now.
I'm looking right at this, by the way.
Okay, yeah.
One large
It's
eye.
a horrifically.
I'll watch now, too.
Yeah, it's a horrifically smooth procedure. The claw moves behind the eye pops out, blood splatters across Lars's face. It rolls along her claw, and with a single swift movement, she shoves it into her own eye socket. You can see the eye sort of tremble and move forward as the weight of the maggots behind it push and try to shove it out of the eye socket, but she manages
go in
to
the
shove
red
it
one?
in. Yeah, it goes into the empty one. And she blinks a few times, and Lars, you feel no pain in this whole procedure. It just isn't there. And she crouches down so that her head is now level with yours. Ours are just black on one side of your face. She says, and as a token of my appreciation, and she takes a small leather strip from you have no idea where, and she sort of stretches it across your face so that you have something covering the now empty eye socket. And then she, with her other clawed hand, tosses the magical, what is it called? Something? Arcane Focus. She tosses the Arcane Focus at the feet of Renesmee, and then her great form turns around and she begins a slow, plodding walk back to the hollow of the great tree.
Wait!
She pauses and glances over her shoulder with her 2 glowing red eyes.
Is there anything that you would want from me in exchange for the pearl?
She thinks for a moment.
I'm gonna pick the spear back up.
I'll walk closer. I'll take a few steps closer, and I'll like have unwavering eye contact with her as much as I can, even if she's not looking at me.
Yeah, she is.
Seek me out alone when you're not with others. Then we can wager and deal.
We're about to go into battle, and it would be of great importance to have it right now, if possible.
I'm sure you are, and I'm sure it is.
And she begins her slow, plodding walk back to the tree.
I'll like fall to the ground, and I'll be like, please!
She doesn't stop. She walks into the hollow and disappears from sight. And you guys are alone in the clearing. All those little critters which were living in the upper branches fled before she exited. Now that she's returned into the tree, some of them are beginning to slowly return to the upper branches. Those angry blue little men with their rapiers, the women with wands and wings.
Yep, we've got the item. Let's get
Lars
back.
is still definitely like sweating, but he's going to go and pick up the Arcane Focus and just start walking.
Yeah, I mean, he has the leather bound across the eye socket. He feels no pain from his missing eye. All told, it's not the worst deal ever. And yeah, you can add the Wizard's Arcane Focus to your sheet.
Okay.
You guys begin to exit again. This time, when you try to exit the clearing, your feet just carry you forward as usual. You get the reverse sensation as you felt here. When coming here, you felt like almost like falling asleep. This time, you feel yourselves jolt upright, and you are in the middle of a wood along a trail. And you can see in the distance a crumbling stone tower. A watchtower.
Get the fuck out of here.
Do you just lock your eyes to the watchtower and continue forward?
Yeah, Lars continues walking. If anyone stops, he's just going to get on his horse and ride back.
All right. You guys continue forward. At this point... Yeah?
May I ask the party before we start walking forward? Shouldn't
No,
we
Lars
just
is still going.
retrace our steps?
Take a chat.
Why would we want to retrace our steps? Do you want to meet the Lurple again?
No.
Let's go.
We can
Lars
walk
is
around the
not
Lurple.
Yeah, Lars is just storming forward. You guys are...
Let's just leave.
I'll follow.
want to
I'll follow
leave
right
this
behind
place.
Lars.
Okay.
I'll follow as well.
All right.
follow
Yeah,
as
you
well,
guys
I
just
guess.
storm forward. As long as you can look at the tower, you know exactly where you're going. So nothing more stops your progress. When you exit the woods, you all release this like collective breath that you didn't realize that you were holding, and that feeling of being watched for the first time in a very long time feels gone, at least for the moment. Whatever you gave the woods has satisfied it. And Lars, you now have a new condition, which is called One-Eyed. You have disadvantage on wisdom perception checks that rely on sight and on ranged attack rolls. Magic can potentially regenerate the lost eye, and if you have no eyes left, if that ever happens, then you'll be permanently blinded. And since you don't have blind sight, that's basically he can never be an adventurer again, functionally.
Yeah.
I put this under... Oh, no,
I already added that to your features and traits.
Yes.
There you go. All right. You guys walk back to the tower. It feels around the exact same time as you left. You guys went into the woods at around 10 a.m. on the 18th. It feels still like it's around 10 a.m. The sun is still at the same position in the sky. And your horses are all there around the watchtower. Gore is on duty. He looks alert, and the second he sees Lars, Gore begins to bound over full speed.
Is he worried?
Yes, very clearly.
Lars will just give him like a reaffirming pat and then hop on the horse.
Yeah, he just follows you along your side, and you guys can all climb onto horseback. It sounds like it's mostly a quiet walk as you guys go to your horses.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they somber.
I'd say so.
Okay. You guys mount up, and you can begin to ride back to Fort Romulus. You guys have an hour. Is there any talk of what was happened in there, or is it just another silent ride?
Not from me, no.
It'll be mainly silent if everyone else is not saying something, but at a certain point I will try to just ask Lars, like, are you alright?
He's not gonna answer.
Then Esme thinks that something must have happened, like as a hallucination, or I don't know. He must
Sure.
have seen some shit. Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys continue onwards, and at about the 40-minute mark, you guys are getting pretty close to the war camp now. You can probably see it on a distant ridge. Lars. It's taken some getting used to, but it's really not the weirdest thing. It's like when you hold your left eye shut, there's just blackness on that side of your vision. Your depth perception is a little bit wonky. You've missed grabbing your reins a couple of times, but you think you'll grow used to it. What you won't grow used to is the fact that you see outlines in the darkness in your left eye. It isn't just black. You see things there. You can't make them out well. In fact, whenever you go to look at them with your right eye, looking into that black space, you see nothing. But it is still the simple fact that in that darkness in the left eye, there's objects. And sometimes, once on the ride, you even feel like there's something in that blackness reaching out towards you. But when you go to look with your right eye, it simply fades.
Okay.
All right. You're just trucking along, ignoring everything.
He said it.
Lurple isn't real.
+1 mental illness. Progress.
+1 mental illness, PogChamp.
True, there should be a mental illness condition.
There is several of them.
Not really anything you can do about it. and
There's
after
the
party
permanent
doesn't help.
insanity chart. I think that
Indeed.
counts.
There's also temporary ones, yeah. So you guys continue, and you guys are allowed in the war camp. There is this sort of, like, the guards, you know, they stare at Lars' face. Like, they cannot. Like, he exited with an eye, like, an hour ago, and now he's coming back sans one, you know, an hour later. So it's going to draw some attention. And are you guys headed to the tent of Arcanus Cetarion?
Yeah, I'm heading straight there with the arcane focus.
Okay, yeah. You guys ride on horseback through the war camp. It's a nice and busy place. And Ethan, can you move for a sec?
Oh, sorry. Yes.
That's okay. Donkey. You guys ride through the war camp. It's pretty crowded. As the days of the battle get closer and closer, more and more reinforcements are arriving, and it's getting more densely and densely packed. And riding through the main thoroughfares and avenues, you guys can get closer to Arcanus Cetarion's tent. It seems to be pretty busy. There's a line of maybe 10 people in front of the tent, and you can hear or see what look to be a servant, like figuring out what everyone's requirements and needs are for the Arcanist. And you can see the tent flaps are open, and within the tent is the Arcanist, along with what look to be several apprentices, busily and hurriedly writing scrolls.
Or they're just attempting to try to walk in.
Yeah, I mean, you just hop off horseback. The servant goes to do something, but then sees the patch on your chest and just lets you through. And Arcanus Cetarion stands up as he sees you, along with your other companions, enter into the tent. Says, judges, welcome.
You pull out the arcane focus and just show it.
He says,
Oh, yep, that'll do. Wonderful. It seems as if his voice sort of trails off as he looks at your eye, or the lack thereof.
Hag.
He looks towards you, Renesmee. What was that?
We went into the Deadwood. We encountered a witch. A hag, I believe.
Oh,
She had the arcane focus. Your friends are probably dead. She said she ate them.
well, I was rather certain they were dead, but
They didn't quite say that, but yeah, they're gone.
Well,
what did she say then?
She said she ate them.
Did she? I suppose it
Or
doesn't.
She said
darting
that
her
she
inner
has
saint.
Yeah.
Lars just
darting
puts the
her
arcane focus in
sanctum.
his hand and walks out.
yeah, he grabs and
Said
says,
that they were
thank you,
very
Judge
tasty."
Lars. He looks back at the other four of you.
Is he going to be all right?
We tried to stop him. He seemed
Going to be more
indignant.
crotchety, but yeah, he'll be alright.
Can you describe this hag?
I might illusion her existence as a figurine thing.
Yeah, he looks at it and sort of inspects. He doesn't seem particularly disgusted by the appearance. He says, "Oh my, that is a hag. Good job, Renesmee. Judge Renesmee. That is an anise hag. I didn't think there were many left, especially not in the Deadwood.
An anise hag.
Looks to be a matron, considering how large she is. Did you give a
What
name?
is that?
We did not get her, did we? I don't think so.
I think that she got introduced like that. I have ADHD, so I don't remember exactly what it was, but
No.
she called us children of illness. Do you know what that is?
I frankly couldn't say I do. It sounds elvish, though. I can tell you that much. Well, thank you for recovering the arcane focus. I can begin casting clairvoyance immediately. I'll most likely be able to find the necromancer's location. You can come back later today.
Did we talk about the... Oh.
Yes, I was going to bring up. One of you left a trinket here last night?
Yes.
Yes, I incinerated it.
What was it?
It's us.
Something
Why?
from the Deadwood.
Oh.
We was
Probably
hoping you
yes.
would identify it.
No. It could have been a scrying anchor, or it could have been some strange connection. It seemed alive, my guess is some sort of effigy of a living creature. But I see no reason to bother with it. Identifying could potentially alert me to our foes out in the woods. And when great things, great powerful creatures create objects such as that, they are typically very angry when people go poking around at exactly how they work. I'd rather stay as far away as I can from things like that.
We also found a clattering skull like we found in Batavia beneath, under the ground in his tent.
Oh, yes, I suppose you're not aware, because you've been out for the morning. The prisoner has been dealt with.
How so?
The Tribunus, apparently, came under special orders of the Emperor himself to send the prisoner back to Mythos.
Huh? Alright then.
And you saw those orders and they were legitimate?
Why would I see the orders?
Well, someone saw them.
Perhaps you'd have to ask the Primus Pilus.
Well, I hope he didn't fuck up, because it sure seems suspicious that someone bails him now.
If the Tribunus is in league with the Deadwood, we have far greater problems. That man has spent 30 years serving the Empire.
Well, you as a master of the arcane should know that you can disguise yourself fairly easily with even rudimentary magic.
If people were walking around here casting magic, they would be caught rather quickly.
Yes, but you can cast before you enter. This is some very basic magic stuff.
Yes, and basic illusions have basic ways of uncovering them. I have enough faith in our Primus pilots to not simply take the word of a two-bit imposter before releasing the prisoner. I think you should as well. If you believe that our commanding staff is so foolish to give that away, then this battle is surely a defeat. Either way, thank you for finding this, and I will get to locating the necromancer immediately. He gives a
You're
nod.
welcome.
And, I mean, he doesn't dismiss you, but he does go back to his work.
Do you mind
What else?
telling me more about the hag? I'm just...
He glances
She
up
had
and
something
says,
else that I wanted, and she said that I should go meet her by myself.
"Oh, you certainly should not do that. I personally only know of, 3 such hags that are still alive. My understanding is they once lived all throughout the Elven Woods when they spread over the world. They were protectors of local villages, and there's even one account that I read that perhaps they're the ones that taught druids their magic, all back in the days before the Elven Empire. But nowadays they are just horrible creatures which live in woods and prey upon the desperation of those who come to them asking for their favor. Even if it's not obvious at the immediate moment, the hag always wins on any deal."
Yes, the wizard that came before us made a deal with it, and now he's living in her hut forever.
It seems as if he got off lucky. There is, it's hard to separate fable from true history, but over in western Valoros, they have great bogs which are practically infected with the things, filled with hags of all shape and size.
and those will demand practically every limb on a man's body to give him something small in return, but the people seeking them out are so desperate they'll take anything.
Uh-oh.
Well,
Good.
So,
that sounds
Is there
good.
anything Lars needs to worry about in the future?
Even if there was, there's nothing he can do about it. The deal's already been made.
is there no way to break a curse if she inflicted one?
There is, but you'd have to know the specifics of the curse. If it becomes a genuine concern, your best bet is to go find an arcanist who specializes in curses. I'm only slightly aware of them. The one thing I do know, though, is that eye will never return. No matter what regeneration you do, it's gone forever. Because it's not just the physical eye that's gone, it's a spirit portion of his spirit that's been taken as well.
Not even. We found someone that could cast a greater restoration spell or. Some
Even greater,
random
mightier than
magic.
that. There was a story of a princess from Western Valoros. She had access to the greatest magics in the realm, regeneration from true archmages, wish spells. They could not return her lost limb.
Oh.
Not even a ring of regeneration?
He shakes his head.
Kind of like nervously rub my wrist.
He just sort of shrugs and says, well, Lars clearly knew what he was going in for. He seemed rather terse to get out of here. I can't blame him, considering what he's given up. I'm sure the Emperor will
I don't know if
appreciate
he
his
knew
sacrifice.
Just wanted to be done with it.
Did you
He's
find
been
anything
acting
else
weird.
strange in the woods?
Yes, we found flowers.
Lurple.
New color.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Lurple?
It
Yes,
was like a
Lurple.
mix between blue and
Yes.
purple.
No, it's
Yes.
not a mix. It's something entirely new.
Do you mean the shade of purple? I leave that
No.
Oh.
No.
It's
No,
There's no color.
Weird deadwood magic, it would do no good to explain it to you. Well, actually it might.
Well,
It takes the
I'll
happiness
explain
out of your memories.
He
Yes,
slowly
I
It
suppose.
nods.
fills you with your memories.
That
Well-
may be something that a curse specialist could help you with. The way you speak of it, it sounds as if you were impacted.
Yes, but I can feel it slowly going away.
I'm afraid it'll probably never go away entirely. The deadwood leaves deep scars on those who go inside of it. The longer you're there, the worse it gets. I don't know anything about
I'm sorry,
these
you're
flowers
very
in particular.
powerful, but you're a very powerful arcanist. So maybe you understand this better than I do. Why isn't it possible to just burn down the deadwood?
Oh, we have. In the Galentine War, we torched great sections of it. The problem is that within the woods, time is not the same as it is out here, and so we burn it down in the span of, let's say, 3 hours. Within sections of the wood, 100 years have passed. A whole new forest has grown. It's why the only places that we can make any genuine progress are on the very edges of the wood. We are winning, though.
What if you salt the earth? Wouldn't that prevent it for hundreds of years?
Well, 100 years can pass in a week within the woods. We have been able to reclaim some ground permanently. I mean, the very area, and he sort of gestures around the tent he's in. This land was a part of the Deadwood when I was a boy. We gained territory, slowly. But it's a long, arduous progress, and we must fight to defend every inch of it. The brave settlers that live in the towns along the Deadwood are crucial in that. They chop down the trees as it attempts to grow, and only in the deepest parts of the Deadwood are the time dilation effects powerful enough to let it regrow. We'll win this war one day, but you and I won't be around anymore.
Understand.
Well, I told them not to touch the flowers, but they did anyways.
And perhaps they were under
She
the
was
effects
immune
of the
because
wood.
she didn't know what happiness means.
She was immune.
I will roll
That is
my
interesting.
eyes.
And he writes down a little note in a notebook.
Not immune, but basically not affected, not as much affected as we are.
He sort of thinks
That
for
is
a
not
moment and
true.
says,
Must have something to do with her past.
that actually was what I was going to lean towards. I must admit, after we spoke originally, back in Fort Celestine, I did do a bit of reading up on all of you.
Oh, God knows.
Perhaps it could be related to that.
I am perfectly fine and well adjusted, thank you.
All right, then.
We all believe you, Renesmee.
Well
That laugh
adjusted.
was out of character, by the way.
Yeah, that's don't quite think that one's accurate.
Well, I'm afraid I don't have any... Assuming you're not all going after the elemental, You seemed uninterested in it when I proposed the offer.
Well, we've still got
I don't
time.
think so.
I suppose you do.
They could go, but I am morally opposed.
It's quite all right. I think with this here, I'll be able to locate the necromancer. Just get yourselves ready for that fight.
Do you think we'll be fighting tomorrow?
Well, the Consul Militum says in 3 days, but I've never known any general to stick to his timetable. I'd recommend be ready to do it any
Who
day.
that is?
Well, I'm afraid I can't help you anymore. If you have any questions about the dead one, I can deign to answer them, but considering the fate of my colleague in those woods, I'm sure you can understand why research is difficult.
One last question. When we were there, we stumbled upon their campsite, and it seemed like everything was perfectly fine. I mean, abandoned, of course, but there was fresh food, there was armor, but when we would touch it with our hands specifically, it would wither away.
Yes, that is very common, especially close to the ancient elven ruins within the woods. There was a school of arcane magic by the elves called chronergy. It was the manipulation of time. What you're describing is practically a textbook version of temporal stasis. That's one of the magics they had access to. Nowadays, there's no true masters of chronergy alive, though I've heard rumors of one in Thon. But the point is that the magic that we find manifested near these ruins is uncontrollable and wild. My guess is, from what you're describing, this aging effect was inconsistent, probably patchy in places.
I don't recall.
Well, that is typically how it presents. Old elven ruins plus the magic of the Deadwood can create some horrible nexuses of magic.
We walked through it and nothing happened to us.
I would not be so sure. As I said,
Wouldn't
the
say nothing
Deadwood always
happened.
leaves a scar on those who pass through it.
Maybe nothing happened to you, but that's just because you're unhappy.
Maybe she's already all scarred up from,
There is a
I'm going to
Damn.
swear!
I'm well adjusted.
there is a conspiracy here that I am unable to feel happiness. I feel happy when I speak to Nami every day.
The Arcanist is, he just sort of nods along and says,
If you
of
say so."
course.
Yes,
Well,
this is a classic coping mechanism.
If there's nothing else, I should get to casting clairvoyance.
Yes. Go and do that, yes.
All right, best of luck. And he returns to his magic. The apprentices are looking at you all with interest, fear, confusion, probably that a lot of emotions.
As we walk out,
Bye.
I want to turn to Severus and be like, Severus, you can't keep telling people that I'm depressed.
I'm not saying that you're depressed, I'm saying you don't know what happiness feels like.
Oh my goodness.
That's different. You can learn that.
You know that there's some things that you don't tell people.
Just like you tell people that you're well adjusted.
I will not be dealing with this right now.
You guys exit the tent. Now, I want
course.
to cut away from this scene to someone else. Lars, where are you going?
I'm probably just gonna be laying in my tent with Gore.
Okay. You ride through the war camp. You return back to the tent. You tie up your horse. You don't even remember the name of this one. You've gone through so many. Many have died underneath you. They're just dime a dozen at this point. Gore follows you into your tent, and you just lay down. And you try to just relax. Your head's petting Gore. You're in the quiet of your tent. You're safe. As far as it can be said. No one has been killed in this camp. Saboteurs abound, but they still weren't killing people. And yet, your heart is pounding. You can't calm down. You feel your hands shaking. And it is impossible, at least for now, to even catch a moment of peacefulness.
I'll keep continuing to do it though, and just trying to get through it.
Yeah, you just stare at your ceiling as your heart pounds.
Should we offer him some drugs?
And
Fire Moss might take the edge off.
you remain there,
That's
heart
true.
pounding in your tent alone. And we have about 13 minutes left, so I think we can do a little bit of planning for what we're doing next time, but I don't think we have time to complete any other missions before us, just because, they're all pretty lengthy. So, I'm just going to quickly type out the ones that we have left to do, and then you guys can figure out what you want to do next time. So we have Scouting
Log.
Mission, What is this one called? Blood of a Cinder. Then we have Rock Elemental. We have these three.
What's Blood of a... Oh, the Blood Hunter guy.
Yeah,
We should
that's the
do that
original.
one.
Okay,
We're
we're
probably
gonna
not
do that
doing
next
the
time.
scouting mission since we have clairvoyance. So yeah.
Yeah.
Blood is
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, all right. That sounds
All
like
right.
a good idea.
Sounds good to me.
We like Locke.
Locke's a cool guy. Because he's played by cool guy Hecko the Gecko. All right, so we will do that next time, but there is XP that has been earned. You'll all be getting the XP for the investigation, as well as consulting with the woman of the wood.
Investigation, you mean the trader guy?
Saboteur.
Yep.
Okay.
So that is going to be, let's
Also,
take a look.
for the focus, or is the focus the reward itself?
The focus is going to Satarion and the Legion, so no, that's not the reward. The reward is XP.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you guys are never
And
seeing that focus
we'll
again.
hopefully not be as overwhelmed in the war.
Oh yeah, sorry. I thought I mentioned this at the very start, but if not, it's worth repeating again. Every one of these missions that you do impacts the outcome of the final battle. Basically, I have like what would happen by default if you guys did literally nothing, and then what happens with each of these progressive missions. So, even if it doesn't
Like the
seem like
ending
it's,
of Mass Effect 3.
yeah, I suppose so. Actually, yeah, it's
It's
kind
going to
of
be a
exactly
blue
like
fight instead of a red one.
that. True.
Yeah.
All right, so you guys are level 5, so the XP you need to get to 6 is okay.
Level
so you guys
6.
each
We're
get
6
2,000
already.
XP. Oh, you're 6. Wait, no, sorry, no, no, it's different then. The number's different since you're already 6.
It's less.
No, it's more because the gap
No, it's
between
more
levels
because
is
it's
more.
percentage, right?
Yeah, it is percentage.
Kopka.
Okay, chill.
We're
is.
actually
I'm getting
we're
there,
less
I'm
than
getting
1,500 XP away, I think.
there. Oh, I think you're leveling
Are
up.
we?
Really?
It's 2,700.
Let me look
Oh
at
shit! Nope,
what's
never
the
mind.
price?
You guys level up at 23,000.
2,300.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, well,
Oh,
so
Dota
it's
has
not-
posted the new
We're almost
total.
there.
Dota has
so we're
We're
almost there.
Indeed. Leveling up next time, probably. Well, actually, no, it'll probably be after the
way
Necromancer
faster than
fight,
the
let's
other
be real.
campaign.
Yeah,
Holy.
you guys are doing a lot of scary shit. Plus, this campaign's going way higher level than the other one is. All right, well,
Yeah, we're going
I
all the way.
think that is all for this time. Next week, we will join Master Hunter Locke on hunting down a Blood Hunter, corrupted Blood Hunter of his order.
Oh wait, that means I get 4th level spells soon.
We may do the Rock Elemental mission. We may do the scouting mission.
Wait,
And
it's
then
20. No.
eventually, we will fight
Don't fucking
the
wait.
Necromancer leading the army surrounding Fort Romulus. And then we're done, at least for the Forest of Hate. We're done with the Forest of Hate. We'll be returning
I'm
to the
gonna
capital.
suck up his soul.
Oh yeah, suck me. Sorry. Anyways, so I will see you guys. I will see you guys next week.
Okay.